Shea, Adam, some final thoughts from you on the 2 warm-up laps.
It's hot. It's very hot down here. The ambient temperature, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. The track temperature, 106. It's spicing up, and a little bit of cloud cover just tempting us as it surrounds the area, but it's not moving overhead, so it's not looking like it's going to cool down at all.
So, Jeremy, at the front of the grid, we've got Mercedes-Benz, Audi R8, Chevy Camaro, BMW M4, McLaren and Mercedes in GS. The interest for me in TCR with the Hyundai Veloster, the Alfa Romeo and both of the next 2 Honda Civics, much quicker than probably the next 5 or 6 cars in GS, and they will be starting directly behind them.
Well, yeah, actually they're quicker than most of the cars in GS. I mean, the time that Michael Lewis set yesterday in qualifying in the best of the TCR cars would have put him second on the grid overall. A magnificent effort by him. The difference, however, in the race configuration is the TCR cars with the front-wheel drive. They put all their energy through those front Michelins, and the tyres having a really, really hard battle here, particularly in the high temperatures and humidity of today. So it's going to be a tall order for the TCR cars to run as fast as they are capable of running, and it's all about consistency for them and keeping those tyres in the best shape they possibly can.
2 hours on the clock, the Lime Rock 240. The Lime Rock 120 rather. I've just doubled the length of that and panicked everybody. Yeah, I just say let them race and then partway through throw the other 2 classes in and have the WeatherTech guys come and play it as well. I reckon everybody should have a go around that. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to join the conversation here, IMSA, the app, if you haven't got it already, absolutely essential. Give you the timing and scoring, some background on the teams, plus some onboard cameras as well. Around the world, around the US, no breaks or blocks. We'll go flag to flag for the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and a very interesting part of the season. The safety car lights are off, but I don't think they were on when it came out. There may be a little problem there. I think he's got his 4-way flashes on to show everybody that we are on the second of 2 formation laps. It will be a side-by-side rolling start, and the whole of the 32-car field will be together as they come across the line. Yeah,
there will be no split on the grid between the GS cars and TCR, so the TCRs will be starting directly behind GS, and as you were saying, in the early stages particularly, TCRs are going to be super fast compared to some of these GS cars.
Well, the flashing hazard lights are off on the pace car, which if we see it again will be the safety car. Let's hope we don't. Let's hope for some green flag running. That's what Owen Trinkler wants, long green flag runs. Mercedes front-engined against the mid-engine V10, then the front-engine Chevy Camaro and BMWs. It looks like it's going to be a quick start. Owen's got on the power early. He's stringing them out, and he crosses the line with a decent gap. He's caught a few people napping there. That's a great start for Owen Trinkler. He'll go into Big Bend with at least a car's length and more on the rest of the field. The rest of the TCR field coming through and already getting into little skirmishes. Looks like the Alpha's had a very good start indeed and may have taken the lead. Bit of bumping and boring down towards the middle and back of the GS field as Bryce Ward and Rod Eklund Jr. were getting together in the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. Bryce looks like he's dropped back a couple of places. The start is under review, but that is standard operational procedure. We're not using the chicane, of course, here, so it's the old uphill, the flat-out uphill. Did the Alpha get through into the lead, Jeremy?
I'm not sure, but a good start, I think, from Tyler Cook in the Audi car.
Yes, it did.
2D.
Yes, it did. The Alpha, thank goodness the Alphas look so different. The bright red car with the little shield on the front, the Alpha Shield grille, is leading in TCR, so has jumped the Hyundai at the start. And Alex Papadopoulos, who's been very quick indeed, is now right up behind Ted Giovannis in the Mercedes number 4, and that will be an issue for the Alpha. Quicker through the twisty bits, but can't get through on the straights. Much quicker for the GS cars down the straights. So Owen Trinkler by half a second at the line from Tyler McQuarrie, then Andrew Davis. The battle in TCR continues with Alpha ahead of Hyundai, then Honda Civic. It's Brian Henderson in the 84. That's the Atlanta Speedworks car.
That was a really nice, clean start though for the entire field. Great to see. No incidents on that first lap. It's nothing significant. A few people making some positions, a few losing them, but everybody seems to be running strong. It was a great start there by the Alpha. And Alex Papadopoulos, despite his lack of experience, has really got the hammer down in the early stages.
Now with 1 hour 58 minutes to go, it might sound like it's a long time to ask you to start thinking about the Forge Line wheels, spirit of the race, but we never know when those things will happen. Drive-through for the number 12. That is the Audi of Nick Gallant, and he will get, in fact, he's already in the pit lane for a jump start. He's already in.
Number 12 car, that's the...
sorry, that's the McDonough and Nash car.
Yeah, that was car started,
Nash behind the wheel.
Yeah, started right at the back in 31st position. So I thought he seemed to be on the move fairly sharply at the green flag there. So that's unfortunate. But that car's been super consistent this season. Two newcomers to sports car racing this year, Russell McDonough and Ryan Nash, have done a really, really good job. But now they've got their work to cut out to move their way back through the field.
They had a fuel pickup issue in qualifying yesterday too, Jeremy, which is why they qualified so far down the field. They did get it fixed though, and both of their drivers have had plenty of time on the sim this weekend with Symmetric, trying to learn this track and get it all figured out.
In the paddock with Symmetric, great idea. They've fixed a full simulator package into a trailer with aircon, or not, if you want to sweat and find out what it's really going to be like in the car with your suit on and your helmet and your hands device. Also got some driver coaching there. They bring that to most of the IMSA paddocks this year. We'll see them again next round in Wisconsin for Road America in a couple of weeks' time. So the Forge Line Spirit of the Race Award, keep your eye out for the team, entity or individual that you think most demonstrates the spirit of endurance racing, and then we'll be asking you for your nominations and votes as we get towards the end of the Michelin Pilot Challenge at IMSA Radio, and the hashtag is ForgeLineSOTR. That's ForgeLineSOTR. But as Jeremy Shaw says, a cracking start to the race, and Alpha leads TCR and now has an Aston Martin right ahead of it. It's the number 99 automatic racing car. Gets close through the twisty parts of the circuit, but then down the main straight, well, he's pulling out, trying to get a bit of airflow through that Alpha grille. And here comes the Hyundai, goes to the right-hand side, down into Big Bend. Just off to our right, tries round the outside, gets round the outside. Great manoeuvre from Mikey Lewis. From pole position now, takes back the lead at the start of the 5th lap here at Lime Rock Park. So order restored to what it was from qualifying, with Hyundai Veloster N TCR, the light blue number 98 car from Brian Herder Autosport. Brian, I'm sure you're watching over in Iowa at the moment. Your boys have done a good job this weekend, and at the moment, Mikey Lewis back in the lead of TCR.
New fastest lap last time around by Owen Trinkler, car number 46, extended his lead to almost a second. I think it now be a fraction over a second this time around. 54.6 is the pace set by Owen Trinkler, the race lead at the moment. The race lap record was set last year by Spencer Pompelli at a 55.0. So we are already well underneath last year's record-setting pace at the front of the field. But just extended, got a second advantage now over Tyler McCory in second place. But this is all about tyre conservation at this stage. The tyres working really, really hard around here, and you've got to make sure you've got good tyres underneath you for the second phase of the race. And for TCR, John, they can make the finish of this race with just one pit stop in terms of fuel. Question is it worth making an extra stop for tyres?
Big sideways moment for Bryce Ward. One of the few places you're putting pressure on the left rear tyre of the car around here, coming out of the left-hander at turn 3. Rejoins right in front of the TCR leaders who steam by down No Name Straight. This is a good opening stint from Owen Trinkler, who is pulling away in the number 46. Now, about an hour is what the GS teams were telling me they can get on fuel. But about an hour, Jeremy, isn't enough. You need to get an hour. It'll be interesting, though. One of the things that a lot of the GS teams were seeing is they want to go as long as possible to see if some of the TCR cars actually do stop for tyres early. Because what they don't want to do is be in a scrap with the TCR cars for actual track position on the racetrack. Because if the TCR cars stay out longer and then are ahead when the GS cars rejoin after they've taken their first pit stop, yeah, they'll get blue flags, but they're under absolutely, they're not under any obligation to pull over if they're battling for position. And that could really mix things up. And we could have a TCR car pretty high up the standings by the end of the first hour, of which we are somewhere near 53 minutes still to go, with an hour and 53 minutes on the clock, with 7 minutes down. And it's been a good start so far for everybody. Owen Trinkler spreading his wings a little bit and pushing out to a 1.5 seconds. He'll catch the back of the TCR field in about, I think, a lap, maybe 2 laps time.
Yeah, but the good news is they're sort of spread out a little bit, some of them at the back of the field. But the guy who's struggling in the early stages after a really good qualifying performance is Bryce Ward. He started up in the top 10. He's now back in the 19th position in GS. He's also behind a couple of TCR cars. That's surprising to see him slip back that quickly. 8 laps now in the books.
Alex Papadopoulos in second now, behind Mikey Lewis for TCR, as we get the chance to just draw breath for a moment. Cracking crowd here at Lime Rock Park, braving the extreme heat index. It's hot from the sun, but the humidity adding a few degrees to that as well. So those at the track, please keep hydrated, keep the water products coming, and make sure that you take a little bit of shade now and then. I know everybody wants to be trackside and watching. Cars getting light over the top of the uphill. Just hear the engine note of the Core Motorsports Mustang number 60, the mostly sort of red camo coloured car. It just begins to rise a little bit as the car goes light at the top of the hill, using the classic full track there. The WeatherTech cars later on today, more live coverage to come. They'll be taking the chicane, the slightly shorter by a couple of feet run up the inside, which means they do have another braking area, another overtaking opportunity, of course. 2 and 57 got together, so it was the Audi R8 of Tyler Cook that was involved in that Bryce Ward grassy moment, and that is under review by race control at the moment. That means they're taking a look at it from every angle, including ones that we won't get to see. They'll also be looking at any data that they've got from the cars, because IMSA do have some live telemetry from the vehicles. Fastest lap last time around for Papadopoulos, from Alex Papadopoulos in the Alpha. 56.2 for the second place TCR car at the moment. In third, it's the Honda TCR Private Henderson. Then the black number 21 Hyundai, Harry Gottsacker. Then Shelby Blackstone leading the championship. They're having a decent scrap with Chad Gilsinger in the 89 red, white and black Hart car. Then Michael Johnson in the dark red Audi, the first of the Audis, with Nick Gallant sitting in behind him about half a second, 54 and 23. That's your top 8 in TCR. Mercedes, Audi, Chevy, Camaro, with Andrew Davis just half a second now behind Tyler McQuarrie, and beginning to put a little bit of pressure on the Audi ahead of him. He's got a bit of breathing space back to the Mustang to the McLaren number 69 of Jesse Lazare. He's got about 2 seconds, maybe a little more, on the 4th place car as the leaders go through to complete another lap.
And having made that drive-through for the jump start early on, Ryan Nash there in car number 12, he's still running in last place, but he's closing up pretty quickly on those 2 cars ahead of him. It's Ryan Block and Gavin Ernst, number 5 and 61, who are having a pretty good battle amongst themselves. The race leader remains Owen Trinkler, 55.1 last time around. He was doing mid-54s, now running consistent around about 55, flat 55.1. I think that's just indicative of the tyre wear at this stage, but the top 3 cars running pretty much, top dozen cars actually running pretty much identical pace at this stage.
No further action between the number 2 Audi and the 57 for that coming together in the early laps. The race control team have had a look at it and say, play on, effectively. Had a quick word with Owen before the race. In good mood, got his wife Jen here, but I know the 2 boys are back in Nashville, so they'll be watching their dad. Hello lads. He's done a good job this weekend, your dad, so make sure you let him know when he gets back home tomorrow.
And again, another 55.1 that time around. Tyler McQuarrie just a little bit quicker each of the last 3 laps. The gap now from first to second is down to just about exactly 1 second. It was almost 1.5 seconds. So that Audi once again, Tyler McQuarrie and Jeff Westphal, who'll drive that car later on. Super consistent this season. That's why they're standing just 1 point out of the championship lead coming into the 6th race of the season.
Yeah, Owen lost about half a second over the last couple of laps, but might just be controlling things. Tyre management here, as well as fuel management for the GS cars. Very, very important indeed. Wouldn't be surprised to see that R8 close up on Owen Trinkler. He'll be hoping that Andrew Davis can give Tyler McQuarrie a little bit of competition there, just to keep him off the back bumper. The BMW of Bill Oberlin in 6th position. Bill Oberlin starting the race here. That's an interesting call, but unable at the moment to deal with the Mustang of Nate Stacey ahead of him. And Shea Adams spoke to the Turner Motorsport team earlier on about that tactic of starting Bill Adams.
Bill Oberlin, yeah, my dad would love to start in the race for them for sure. But it was so that Bill starts this race and Robbie will take over toward the end. Then Bill will get a nice long break before he has to get into the GTD car to finish that race. So effectively, Robbie is going to be driving a really, really, really long stint in between 2 races, but he gets a little bit of a break in between them.
It's been a change for the lead in TCR. Significantly, Alex Papadopoulos back ahead of the Hyundai and carving his way now through the GS field. So the traffic has played a part. Papadopoulos now up to 16th position overall. So he's put, what, 4 of the GS, 5 of the GS cars behind him, and he's got one of them between himself and Lewis. And it was a gaggle of cars that were battling coming down to the first corner that allowed him to do that. He went up the inside, the Hyundai stayed on the outside and lost out there. So a bit of drafting following the Volt Racing Cayman that got the Alpha through. And now the Alpha is actually being slightly held up by that number 7 car, Alan Brynjolfsson, who started that car. He's going to go around the outside, coming into turn 3. That's a brave manoeuvre, but the little front-wheel drive Alpha makes that look easy. And Papadopoulos, without the Alpha badge on the front of that car. This car, remember, very badly damaged at Watkins Glen. We didn't expect to see it that weekend. It was patched up. Now it's actually all back to being red at the front, which it hasn't always been in the last couple of races. But the enamel Alpha shield that should be at the top of that grille is still not on that car, but it's not slowing it down at all.
No, he's giving Brynjolfsson a little bit of encouragement, I think, going through a Big Bend on that lap. A little tap on the rear, and then makes the move on the exit. That was fine, no big deal there. But it's a really, really fine performance by the youngster here from Houston. Just his 6th start in this championship, his first season of professional racing. He's just done his best lap of the race as well, as Papadopoulos having taken the lead in TCR in that gorgeous Alpha.
Hello to Gareth Evans in the UK, where it's almost 4:30 in the evening, and another off coming into turn number 3, and it was the Aston Martin race. That's the 99 car. Bryce Ward right in the mix there as well. So the 99 driven, that's the Ferrara car, isn't it? Yes, it is. Gary Ferrara in that car now. Did he jump or was he pushed? Started all the way back at Big Bend, and clipped the curb on the inside and then all the way out to the edge of turn 2. Was still on the grass a little bit further round, getting on towards turn 3. But I don't think there was a touch there.
He was certainly close.
Oh, then Bryce going up the inside at turn 6, side by side under the crossover bridge and down towards turn 7. Bryce Ward trying to take a position here. That was brave driving by both of those guys, scrapping for 18th and 19th in GS as the TCR hordes have gone by them, and they've dropped down into the mid-20s after that coming together, or at least incident, let's say. It was pretty close, as Jeremy rightly said. Papadopoulos now up to 15th position overall, with Mike Lewis getting a little bit of pressure from Brian Henderson in the Honda Civic number 84. That's the Atlanta Speedworks car. Harry Gottsacker in the black number 21 Hyundai is right in behind him, and then Shelby Blackstock, our championship leader in the 37. That's the LA Honda World Honda Civic TCR. Hello to all of the Honda supporters here this weekend. So quite a few of you driving in early this morning. Car corrals looking great with Audi, Corvette and Porsche represented well, but good to see some of the TCR manufacturers here as well, like Honda and Hyundai, with some of their owners here at Lime Rock Park. And thanks for supporting the Michelin Pilot Challenge live around the world from trackside. This is the Lime Rock Park 120. IMSA TV and radio. We've just gone over 15 minutes, so an hour and 44 still to go. And Owen Trinkler, who eased his pace, but has managed the gap and in fact increased the gap at the front of the field to over 2 seconds now as he's in the back of the TCR Traffic. That was smart, Jeremy. As he was getting towards the back of the Traffic, he just eked out a little bit more of a lead on Tyler McQuarrie. Yeah, he's looking good here, is Trinkler. He got the message there, and he's making his way through the beginnings of the Traffic now nicely. He's extended that lead, as you say, 2.3 seconds now between first and second, and a similar gap between second and third to Andrew Davis and to Justin Lazaire in fourth. But Lazaire, he's got his mirrors full with that Mustang of Nate Stacey and Bill Oberlin's BMW. Great midfield battle there, all sorts of cars heading down into Big Bend. That's going to be interesting. There's about 7 or 8 cars there, some of them 3 wide as they go into Big Bend. That is one of the only opportunities to get up the inside of somebody, Jeremy, but you've got to plan and scheme that really rather cleverly. 1 or 2 slightly threatening clouds. It's been a beautiful blue sky morning here, but as we head towards noon, about half an hour away, it is just getting a little overcast. Now that's good news for everybody working in the pit lane, Shea Adam, but it will become a little more oppressive, so the heat index will actually probably stay the same or go up. It's even better news for the tyres, though, because without direct sunshine on the track temperature will actually ease a little bit. It will, and you could actually feel it in the air when the cloud cover came over. There was a bit of relief that came through the pit lane, and you could see people's shoulders just sort of slump a little bit as they were able to relax after the direct sunlight. But as you said, it's not going to get any cooler out here. It just might not get any more direct sunlight shining, if that makes sense. No, it makes perfect sense, Shea. Thank you. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff in the IMSA Broadcast Centre for a busy day of sound and vision. Full live coverage of IMSA WeatherTech still to come today from Lime Rock Park, but plenty of action still to come with 101 minutes still to go in this battle for the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and 1 or 2 cars just starting to move around when they're being leaned on in this early part of the race. Remember, these tyres have done qualifying for these cars. You have to start on the qualifying tyres, and the 69 car in particular, that's the McLaren from Motorsport in Action of Jesse Lazaire, holding 4th position, that mainly white with blue and black, under pressure from the Forge Line Mustang that sits in behind it. That's Nate Stacey in the 60 core racing car, and he's getting a good run. And he has to push hard because Bill Oberlin's right there as well for Turner BMW in the M4. And Bill gets a super run off turn 7. Now he tucks up underneath the rear wing of the red Mustang, who's trying to close down on the McLaren, but the McLaren is low, it's lean, and it's aerodynamically tremendously efficient, and it pulls out 2 or 3 cars lengths before the braking area into Big Bend at turns 1 and 2. And for a moment at least, Jesse Lazaire has a bit of braking room, bit of breathing room, but goes slightly wide as he cuts back through the left-hander, and again he's going to be under pressure for the second half of the lap. Bill Oberlin just sitting with the best seat in the house at the moment, watching that battle for 4th position ahead, and they have got traffic in the shape of TCR cars ahead. The leader, Owen Trinkler, is doing a grand job. He's now out to over 3.5 seconds as these 3 cars battling for 3rd on down have a group of TCR cars which they'll want to try and get by on the front straight, but I don't think they're close enough to make that. It's a couple of 3 Audis, in fact, and one of the Alfa Romeos. So that is the battle for 10th, 11th and 12th in TCR, that the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th in GS is coming up amongst. Oh, big slide by the Mustang coming out of turn 2, the end of Big Bend. Well, maybe Jesse Lazaire isn't making a mistake there coming through the left-hander. He's just taking a very wide entry to it every time, but it's definitely losing him some track time. And now he's got to make a very audacious move up the inside, coming up to the uphill. He brakes, he tries to hold on, that's cost him time. Now where's Bill Oberlin in all of this? As the 60 goes to the outside and tries to get round of the turn 6 on the outside of West Bend, and Bill Oberlin decides that he's now going to come and join the party. Stays on the outside line, will try and sweep around the outside of the Mustang, and that means that Nate Stacey's got to stay on the inside, which he does, and the 2 front engine cars are side by side as they come to the line. And who got the who got the result on the line. I think it was still the Mustang. Yes, it was, but it was by 0.008 of a second, and that was enough momentum for Bill Oberlin to get around the outside and squeeze into 4th position. So Oberlin picks off one of the 2 cars that he's been battling with for a little while. Now got to get up the inside of Ryan Nash in the white Europarts Rover Racing Audi, which he does, but that's allowed Jesse Lazaire in the McLaren to clear out for a little while at least. Remember, this is the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th, and we are only 20 minutes 21 minutes into this 2-hour contest, and it's going to be like this, Jeremy, all the way through to the last lap.
It is. Take advantage of that little breather there, because you're not going to get many opportunities to do that. The gap between 1st and 2nd has gone out again to 3 seconds now. Owen Trinkler last time ran a 55.7, so good consistency there when he has clear traffic. The gap from 2nd to 3rd and 3rd to 4th, again equidistant, around about 2 or 3 seconds between them. But I've got my eyes on the TCR battle. Well, it's becoming a battle again at the moment. Papadopoulos had pulled out quite an advantage over Michael Lewis, but now he's struggling to get past Ori Fidani's number 13 AWA Porsche. Is Papadopoulos. James Pezic in number 40, the bright pink PF Racing 4, he's right in that mix as well. And because of that, closing in quite quickly is the number 98 car of Michael Lewis. He's right with them now.
Yellow flags at turn 1. Oh, it's the TCR leader. The TCR leader has got off with the 13 car of Oriol Fidani, and he's dropped well down, because he's now dropped down behind the number 84 now. What went on there? Pesic was up the inside. Oh, it was just a spin. Pesic went down the inside, and I think that spooked Fidani, who spun on his own. I don't think there was a touch there from the Alpha.
I think there was, because I think the number 40 car there down the inside, I think he kind of pinched them all together there. Number 13 car was on the outside. He really didn't have anywhere to go. He has to turn into the corner somewhere. I think that was just a kind of an unfortunate incident there. The Alpha was kind of stuck in the middle there, John, I think, by Pesic, who put him in a really difficult position. With somebody with more experience, might have just eased out a little bit and let the Ford go, but the number 13 Porsche, that was right in the mix as well. 3 wide into Big Bend rarely works.
It's cost Papadopoulos something around about 10 seconds and 3 positions. He's dropped down to 4th now, and that puts the blue Hyundai Veloster of Mikey Lewis back in the lead, and he responds with the best central section, the second section of the track that he's put in the race to try and put some of a gap over his teammate. Gotzacker up into 2nd, has got ahead of the Atlanta Speedworks Honda with Brian Henderson at the wheel. So it's now 98-21-84 in TCR, with the blue and yellow, dark blue and yellow of Atlanta Speedworks, and Brian Henderson in 3rd, but being pushed very hard indeed by the recovering Papadopoulos. We don't have an onboard on the number 3 car, I don't think, which I think would have told us a better tale. Our colleagues at NASCAR Productions doing a cracking job keeping us informed with the pictures here. Thanks to everybody up in Charlotte. Keith, thanks for your work, and the rest of the team. That the view from behind going into turn 1, I think, was the one that showed us more of what was going on. Pesic was definitely up on the curb on the right-hand side. No action on the incident involving 3 and 13. Pesic not judged to be a part of that, but I do think he was an influence, if not a part of the incident, Jeremy.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you there, John, because it was he that put those other 2 in that position by stuffing it down the inside. Yeah, it was a good enough pass. There's nothing wrong with that. It was just just one of those kind of unfortunate things that's going to happen around here, particularly when you've got 2 different classes of cars making their speed in different ways around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
23 Audi is Nick Gallant in the blue and purple car, dropping down to the final corner now and turns in. Wow, those TCRs look such a stable platform through the fast corners, don't they? As he's down the front straight now. Notice they're using the number plate cutout underneath the 4 rings of Audi as a little extra cooling in the front of that car. That normally has a blanking plate in it for the street cars. Papadopoulos with a slightly cockeyed looking Alpha at the moment, with the left headlight looking a little less than fully secured. Now right in behind Brian Henderson, sort of giving you a sideways glance, that Alpha now as it comes towards you, down towards turn 7 for these two, as they're battling for 3rd position in TCR. And Papadopoulos will be cursing his luck there. Not sure there was very much he could have done, than, as you said, Jeremy, than stand on the anchors, and there were other cars around him.
Yeah, a little bit of inexperience. I mean, as you say, he didn't do anything wrong there. It was just sort of kind of unfortunate circumstances. One of the things you kind of learn with experience, as we see Brian Henderson is throwing a wheel onto the grass at the exit of Big Bend.
Now, meantime, Bill Oberlin in traffic going past Bryce. Oh, and Bryce Ward just comes across, didn't realise Bill was there, and there was trading of paint. This is the battle for 3rd position. Bryce is not in that. He's already got a lap down the leader, and there's something hanging down from the back left-hand side of the silver number 57 Mercedes as well. It's part of the under the tray. And Oberlin gets through that battle. He's still got pressure from Nate Stacey behind him, but it's Jesse Lazaire. It's a battle for 4th position, my apologies, that McLaren holds at the moment. Ahead of him, about 2 seconds up the road from Jesse Lazaire, is Andrew Davis, who's about a second in his Chevrolet Camaro from Rebel Rock Racing from Tyler McQuarrie in the car-bound Audi, the 39, and he's 3.3 seconds away from the leader, Owen Trinkler, who is doing a grand job of controlling things. And I dare say Owen is just doing a bit of fuel saving as well at the moment to stretch the window as much as he can. Just on half an hour gone, the contact between car 57 and 96 has been noted by race control. That was the Bryce Ward and Bill Oberlin in traffic contact. And now, well, it really is like one of those Forza Motorsport challenges where you've got to pass 20 cars on 2 laps. As Bill Oberlin carves past the number 89 Honda of Chad Gilsinger, which is in 6th position. That's the red, white and black Honda TCR from Hart. And now he's got the 99 Aston ahead of him. It's the guy Ferreira car. It's the automatic racing machine that I know Sarah Rigby is watching back in Crewe. These Saturday races cracking for people back in the UK, where it's just coming up to 20 minutes before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Big international audience for our international feed on a big weekend of sport again, with the Open Championship at Royal Portrush coming to its conclusion tomorrow. Watch that on NBC here in the States. NBCSN later on today with the Iowa 300 and, of course, the IMSA WeatherTech race on tape delay at 9:30 this evening for those of you here in the US on NBCSN, 9:30 Eastern, of course. If you're outside the US and in a territory that doesn't have a network TV deal, then you can watch it live, as you are now, with the Michelin Pilot Challenge. No blocks, no breaks, flag to flag on IMSA TV and IMSA Radio. Oberlin hunting around the back of the Motorsport in Action McLaren. 2 very different cars, but racing at such close quarters. The BMW with the engine in the front, Bill Oberlin, one of the most experienced drivers in IMSA, trying to carve a way past Jesse Lazaire in the 69 car. Now, Shea, we're about half an hour in here. That's a bit early for pit stops for any of the cars, but there might be a bit of a sneaky tactic going on here.
Well, about 5 minutes ago, the Turner Motorsports crew jumped up onto the wall with 4 sticker Michelin tires ready to get Bill Oberlin in, but they are not going to bring him in now. It looks like there's something going on the track, though, John. I see a lot of fists being pumped.
Yes, he's just gone through at turn 6 at West Bend and completes the move going down the hill into 7. So Bill Oberlin is saying, pit stop? Are you mad? I'm having far too much fun. I'll stay out, thank you very much indeed. Next up, he's going to be putting a lap on the Murillo Racing AMG, which is sitting in front of him. That's the number 65 car. That was started by Tim Probert, and he's already right up to the back of that metallic copper or orange car. So Bill Oberlin now up into 4th position, and 6 seconds the gap between himself and the Chevy Camaro of Andrew Davis, which is sitting pretty in third position. Top three separated by only 6 seconds whilst they're fighting their way through traffic.
Yeah, and that gap from third to fourth, that's extended dramatically over the last 4 or 5 laps. So whether Jesse is struggling here with his tyres, I don't know, but certainly he dropped back quite a long way now from Andrew Davis, and as you say, being passed by Bill Oberlin.
In TCR, the two Hyundais are coming together. Harry Gottsacke driving beautifully well through the pack. Didn't get the qualifying he wanted, but the black number 21 now within sight almost of his teammates.
Oh, very much so.
Just under 2 seconds.
Okay, well, it's extended a little bit on that last lap because it was down to just over 1 second a lap or two ago. So those two now, they're well clear of everybody else in TCR. The Alpha still stuck behind Brian Henderson.
7 seconds the gap between third and fourth and the first two now, which is I think that's going out because they're scrapping so much now. A little bit of a danger time for Owen Trinkler as he comes up to the battle for third and fourth. He's flashing his headlight, the battle for third and fourth at TCR. And those TCR cars, they might be a bit more draggy, but they're still quick in a straight line. Owen goes down the outside, then thinks, don't think so. I'll let these two guys play it. They should be able to play it to pull away from him in the twisty bits. Oh, down the inside, almost contact there as the number 3 Alpha dives to the inside of the 84, the Atlanta Speedworks Honda, now onto No Name Straight, and the Mercedes number 46 trying to get through. This is the leader and it's costing him time. Tyler McQuarrie in clear air behind is hoving into view as they go up the uphill. Oh, great move by Owen Trinkler as he goes up the inside of the Alpha and then waits just a moment. This is fabulous driving coming through traffic by the man from Nashville. The 46 car then still leading. Bill Oberlin in a little bit of clear air now is getting some good lap times in. Last time around was a good move from him on Tim Probert to get into clear air, but getting through into fourth position was all about a tiny little bit of a hip check going into turn 6 at the West Bend and then completed the move down the inside into turn 7. I think there was just a tiniest of touches as Bill went through, but he's there. There's no doubt about it as he goes in. Was there a little bump? Ooh, tiny little bump maybe. Yeah, there was. And I'll tell you why I know there was, because Bill took his hand off the wheel and said, well, sorry man, just slid a bit wide there. Debris on the circuit. The rubbish on the track flag is out.
Where's Rob Eckley?
That's the one that looks like the Catalonian flag, the yellow and red car, and that's right at the top of the uphill. There's a significant piece of debris up there.
Right, the number 97 Aston Martin lost a lot of time over the last, he must have had an off, I think, on that last lap. He cost himself quite a bit of ground, so he's dropped back from that big battle that was going on for kind of 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. But as the race leader is working his way through those two TCR leaders, the gap from first to second is more than half now. It's down to 1.5 seconds, now a little bit more, back out to 2 as they come across the line again to complete lap 37.
Jeremy, you were asking about the Mia Mclaren, so I just walked down and checked in with Erik, the team manager and strategist for them. They said this is the pace that they want to run at, so they're not going to be pushed to go any faster or any slower. Jesse's doing exactly what he needs to. The tires aren't going off, they're not struggling with the car, they're just going according to plan.
Excellent.
Thank you, Shea. Looks like that is a bit of diffuser that's on the track. I wonder if that's what was hanging down from Bryce Ward's car, the 57 silver Mercedes earlier on, the AMG GT4. Great run through traffic by Owen Trinkler. He's seen his lead cut by just over a second, but he hasn't panicked. Meantime, leading TCR, the blue, orange and black Hyundai Veloster. Clever little car, this. The regulations for, the piece of debris, somebody must have just clipped it and then pushed it off to the side of the track and off the racing line coming into the uphill, actually, not coming out of it, my apologies. The regulations for TCR say front wheel drive up to 200 horsepower, around about 330 up to 2 litres rather, up to about 330 horsepower. Must be a front wheel drive car though, and it can have either 4 or 5 doors. Well, if you're looking at the driver's side, the left-hand side of the Hyundai Veloster, you might think, hang on a second, that's only got 1 door each side, plus the hatch. that only makes it 3 doors. But if you're on the other side, the right-hand side, you'll see there's 2 doors on that side. And that is exactly how the road car is. You have a long door on the left-hand side, the driver's side, and 2 doors on the right-hand side, the passenger side, puts the hatch, and even my rudimentary arithmetic says that that's 4 doors, therefore it's legal. It's a nice little svelte coupe, and it's very aerodynamically efficient, based on the same drivetrain and a similar platform to the i30 NTCR, which Brian Hertner Autosport ran last year and has been run around the rest of the world as well. It's a great addition to the TCR category here in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, and indeed at some of the other endurance races that we cover around the world as part of Radio Show Limited. The big battle in TCR at the moment is still on for 3rd position. Brian Henderson has it, and Alex Papadopoulos really wants it. Shit, Adam.
To put it into people for if you're here at the track terms, if you're in the infield of Lime Rock Park, the Hyundai looks perfectly legal. If you're in the outfield, it looks illegal.
That's very good, yes. Exactly right, depending on which side of the track you're standing. And thank you very much for coming out in your droves to support the Northeast Grand Prix this weekend. Good run at the front of the field by the 2 Hyundais. It's still just on 2 seconds between Mikey Lewis and Harry Gottsacker, coming on to 40 minutes in, and that means any time now there's any issues, we will see pit stops. Anything up to about half an hour. They might have just topped off and left the original driver in. It's a hot day here. They'll want to try and stretch through the race as far as they can go. And
there's a significant move. Number 98 car just putting a lap on Shelby Blackstock in TCR.
Wow.
Shelby Blackstock is running in the 8th position, but these Hyundais, they've got everybody covered today. Absolutely flying, running good consistent lap times, up to 13th and 14th places overall. Now there's a couple of seconds between them, but they are running, well, absolutely unchallenged at the moment.
Starting to see the first signs of potential pit stops. Maybe still 3, 4, 5 laps away with just 50-odd second laps. But 1 or 2 drivers are getting suited at boot as Papadopoulos goes around the outside. This is another outstanding manoeuvre, and the Giulietta again proves it's got the grip round the outside. Papadopoulos up into 3rd and sets off in pursuit of the 2 Hyundais and immediately makes the break. He's been frustrated sitting behind that blue and yellow car, but fair play to him, he hasn't pressed it so much as the leader comes to put a lap on the number 12 of Ryan Nash, and has done. My goodness, the Hyundais have lapped everybody up to 6th position. That's an extraordinary run, long green flag run, and what we're seeing is a cracking battle behind the Hyundais. Only the Alpha living with them at the moment. At the front of the field, it's all closed up as well.
Yeah.
As Owen Trinkler has Tyler McQuarrie for company now. The 46 and 39 AMG Mercedes leading, but by only half a second across the line from the Audi. And here comes Andrew Davis as well, as he is now only 4.4 seconds behind the leaders. He was around about 6. So it's all closed up at the head of the field. And Bill Oberlin, he's another 4.5 seconds further back. 40 minutes gone, 1 hour and 20 to go. And the Hyundai number 98, what a shame the Alpha wasn't still in this battle, because he was even a couple of 3 seconds up the road from the 98 before he went off at turn 1. But the Alpha is coming strongly.
It is 11 seconds behind he is now, behind the 2nd place Hyundai of Harry Gottsacker in car number 21, moving up very well. Having had that problem in qualifying, he started somewhere down the order, but is moving up very, very nicely, and those 2 Hyundais are running about 4 seconds now. The gap has extended between those 2, but they are the last cars on the lead lap in 13th and 14th positions overall. And another, again, the leaders just working their way through some traffic again. These are cars that are going 2 laps down, basically, or more than that, to the overall race leaders, and that means he's got a clear lap now as Owen Trinkler is going to extend that gap a little bit more over number 39 car. He's running I think well in control of himself at the moment is Owen Trinkler.
First pit stop from GS, just over 40 minutes. Let's call it 41 minutes, and Adam has a call into the pit lane.
Bill Oberlin joins me in the pit lane in a blue and yellow Turner Motorsports BMW, not for the first time today, not for the last, but this is the first pit stop for the GS cars. There is a donut mark on the left side door of this Turner Motorsports BMW. He's out of the car, and Robbie Foley has taken over. They are changing the right side tires. We'll have to see if they come around to do the lefts as well. Heard talk in the pit lane this morning about cars doing 2 tire stops and then doing the other 2 on the next stop. Well, for Turner, it's going to be right sides only. Robbie Foley installed. Car comes off the air jacks, just waiting on the fuel as Robbie has his belts all done up, and he's just sitting there getting all nice and adjusted. Now, this is going to trigger a flurry of other stops. We have the 52 LA Honda World TCR car in. Max Faulkner and Colin Mullen sharing that car. Faulkner out and Mullen in. That's Robbie Foley getting going once again. And the Automatic Racing, the new Aston Martin Vantage GT4, the number 97 is in. Rob Eklund Jr. will get out of that car, and Tom Long will be taking over.
So just to reiterate, right sides only for the BMW. Those were the tyres that would have been working them hardest in qualifying and in the first 41 minutes of the race. That's a really interesting call from Will Turner.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And the number 97 car is certainly going to have to make another stop now. It's going to be committed to 2 stops for sure. Number 97 car, really good start by Rob Eklund. He'd lost a little bit of ground there in the latter stages of his stint, and he'd just been overtaken, just gone 1 lap down before handing over that car to Tom Long.
Let's talk about some more pit stops and some more tyre strategies here in GS and in TCR. Shea Adam.
For GS and the Automatic Racing number 97, fueling is done. It was a 4-tire change for that Aston Martin. Car comes off the air jacks and goes out with Tom Long. For the number 89, Hart Racing Honda. This is the crew that's run mostly by engineers. Front tires only for this Honda. Still waiting on fuel to finish. And for the driver change, it was Chad Gilsinger who brought it in. Ryan Eversley, who is in for the rest of this one. And the driver change taking much longer than the fueling did. There is a left front puncture on the Alfa Romeo. That is coming into the pit lane now. That's the black one. As Eversley gets the driver change done and exits the pit lane, we have the 37 into the pit lane as well. This is the championship leader in TCR, Shelby Blackstock. Looks like he's staying behind the wheel of that car for now. They are 2 changing the right front tires. Actually, you know what? I might take that back. They might be doing, oh no, they are doing the front tires. Left front puncture is in for the Alfa. That car, let's see how bad. Oh, no damage to the car. That's the good news. I did notice that there was quite a bit of damage on the number 23 Fast MD Audi of Nick Galante, so he's going to have to attend to that when he comes into the pit lane. That's on the right front of that car. But the puncture, the wheel managed to stay as it was together. The good news, though, at least Roy Block getting out of the car. Tim Lewis Jr. not quite ready to get in, but he is doing up his gloves as Roy Block jumps out of the car. So they're going to make this the full service stop for that number 5 Alfa.
Thank you, Shea, and hope we'll get a few words with some of the drivers who've jumped out of those cars in a little while once they've had a chance to rehydrate and get their breath back, as Shea Adam will have to do as well. 45 minutes into the race, Owen Trinkler leads by a second or thereabouts in TCR. Up to 11th position, Michael Lewis stays out again for another lap. They'll go long into this race and he'll climb as the GS cars ahead of him stop. Gottsaka has dropped back just a wee bit on his teammate. It was just a second or so, and that's gone out a decent amount as we wait for him to come across the line. But it's Papadopoulos who's closing in. Yeah, the second of the Hyundais, the black one's gone out to 7.5 seconds between himself and his teammate. They were only a couple of seconds apart not so very long ago, and then it's a further 9 seconds back for Papadopoulos, and he's pulled that down from 13.
Yeah, but Owen Trinkler here, he's running consistent laps in the low 56s, 56.3, 56.2, 56.4, yeah. And what's interesting about that is the fact that now Tyler McQuarrie is closed in again. He's running a little bit quicker into the last few laps. It's now less than a second between them as they cross the line. This time, as they're coming down now into the diving turn, there's only, about maybe 20 car lengths between the 2 race leaders. And they're now pulled over almost 7 seconds over Andrew Davis in third, and a further 12 seconds back to Jesse Lazar and the McLaren.
Yes. The Hart car is going to get a drive through. The fire attendant, the man on the bottle, improperly attired. So I presume either no goggles or no gloves for that. That is me seeing that, not official. But it will be a drive-through for the Hart Honda number 89. Ryan Eversley now at the wheel. That'll be frustrating for Ryan in that red, white and black car.
Number 2 Audi of Tyler Cook. He's done a really good stint in the race. He started 12th, made up 4 positions in the first half a dozen laps. He's now running in the 6th position. He's closed right up now on that battle. It's now the battle for 4th with Jesse Lazare in the McLaren, Nate Stacey in the Ford, and Tyler Cook right with those two, well clear of the BMW number 82, the championship leader James Clay in 7th.
Ryan Eversley serves his penalty at the first opportunity, peels off into the pit lane. That battle you were talking about, Jeremy, just coming down to the final corner, now swooping into the right-hander. Tyler Cook is just about on the end of that, and the 2 wide as the Aston Martin pulls out. Tyler Cook in the Stars and Stripes car goes to the pit lane, and the Aston Martin trying down the inside of the number 60, the bright red car. Yes, it goes through and passes the Mustang going into the first corner. So that's fresh tyres, of course. That's fresh tyres. Yep. That's not a battle for position. This is a car coming back after its first pit stop. So that's the 9th. Now that's interesting to me, Jeremy. That tells a story, and this is really, really important for Rod Ekman Jr. sitting down in 20th to try and clear these cars and get some quick laps in straight away. Sorry, that's Tom Long in that 97 car now, isn't it? The timing screen just hasn't quite caught up with what's going on. But definitely better tyres, better grip, more performance. Meantime, Shea Adam has been watching some more pit stops.
For that number 2, Tyler Cook staying in the pit lane. It's Kenton Cook taking over. They are doing 4 tires for the Audi R8 and fuel for the E-Euro parts car. Also in the number 56 Murillo racing machine. That was Jeff Mosing who started the race. It's Erik Foss who's going to be taking over. They are changing the left side tires on that Mercedes GC4 car first. Have to wait and see if they come around and do the right sides as well. But they are doing fuel. And yes, it will be a 4-tire stop for the Mercedes.
I think some of these early stoppers in GS, Jeremy, are doing the Nürburgring VLN style trick, and what they've decided to do is split the race into 3 manageable chunks rather than even trying to sweat it. Oh, number 2 car back down the pit lane, or is that just leaving? That seems to have been in a long time, but
nope,
yeah, that is Kenton Cook just leaving.
Yeah. 4-tire stop, that's why it took a long time.
It's amazing how quickly things happen.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I'm just thinking...
39 car in. Second place.
From second place. I'm just now that is just 49 minutes of running. The leader stays out. Shea Adam has the Audi number 39 from Carbon.
Tyler McQuarrie handing over to Jeff Westphal. Second in points coming into the race today. Only 1 behind the Bimmer World Racing BMW number 82 machine. It is going to be 4 new tires for Jeff, so he's getting it the full treatment. As also into the pit lane, the number 60 Core Motorsports Mustang. That is, yes, going to be a driver change. Couldn't tell if Marcella was just going to do a drinks bottle change because he had one in his hand, but no, indeed, he is taking over. They too are doing 4 tires. And for the Mia McLaren, that will be a 4-tire change. And Cory Fergus getting a chance to drive that car. He was sitting on the pit box without his shirt on because he was trying to cool himself off just a little bit more. So some people take their fire suit off. Cory took it 1 level further. Now, the McLaren only has 1 tire gun that they're allowed to use over the wall because they have a central locking wheel nut, as opposed to every other car that has 5 wheel nuts, more of a NASCAR style. The number 2 Audi, the number 39 Audi that came in from second, had the number 2 on the side of it, is down and away, back out the pit lane. The 09 Automatic Racing Aston Martin, a very slow pit stop for them, 4-tire change, and a driver change there as well, as it is Greg Leofouge taking over. The McLaren is off and away and gets out ahead of the Mustang. Excellent stop by Mia, and it was a good stop too for Cory.
Thank you, Shea.
So once again, then a slow stop for the number 09 car. Ari Balog did a nice first stint there, kept the car on the lead lap, and as was the case at Canadian Tire Motorsport, where the car was super fast, we didn't find out. I tried to find David Ross at the end of that race to find out why the car slipped back, because Gregory Leofouge drove a brilliant final stint and set the fastest lap of the race. But they finished in the top 10, but not where they should have done, I think, with that car. Yeah, they finished in 10th place, but it could have been. It's a case of woulda, coulda, shoulda for that number. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a different number this weekend, but the 09 car here this weekend.
Owen Trinkler with a 10-second lead now at the front of the field, but has not stopped. He's doing a grand job of managing the lead, keeping track position, but he's clearly saving fuel as well in that Mercedes AMG. Now, the worry will be looking at everybody else's lap time. He's out towards 57 seconds now, but other people who haven't switched tyres yet are on 59. But what about the BMW? The 96 of Rob Foley, 57.6. So actually, still not that much of a differential and a performance advantage to the new tyres. But remember, only 2 tyres put on the Turner BMW with a bit of clear air for Robbie Foley. He's coming up to the west bend, turn 6 at the moment, turns in, gets on the throttle, runs all the way out to the track exit. Slight lift and then back on the throttle for the final corner. Out to second place, Andrew Davis for Rebel Rock Racing will hand over to Scotsman Robin Liddell. Far too warm for Robin in these temperatures, I would have thought.
Yeah, his hand will be out the window a lot today, John, especially given how much he was waving to you at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The important thing about this pit stop, though, they are also doing a 4 tire change.
Don't forget our Forge Line Wales Spirit of the Race Award. The team, person or entity that you feel most represents the spirit of endurance race in this 2-hour encounter for the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Let's have your thoughts, please. Anytime from now, Forge Line SOTR, hashtag Forge Line SOTR at IMSA Radio, and we'll let you know before the end of the race. The 71 Rebel Rock Racing team have won that award from you viewers and listeners for the last 2 races, and Robin Liddell mightily proud by that when he was talking to us on Midweek Motorsport a couple of weeks ago.
And now the only car that's not been on the pit lane, at least of the leading contenders, is Owen Trinkler in car number 46. He's actually on a lap on his own right now, because the car that's running second on the road, which is Jim Cox, is a full lap behind Owen Trinkler.
And now here's Kenton Cook getting a lap back as he goes into the West Bend on new tyres in the number 2 Stars and Stripes Audi, which was one of the first cars to stop. And Owen stays out. 54 minutes gone. This is a great run, but where is the car going to come out? His performance advantage, but even that was only a 58.2, and that was in traffic. This is a really good run from the man from Nashville. Joe Vardy, the man on the box who crunches the numbers, is a tactical genius, and I don't use that word at all lightly. We've seen, I'm not second-guessing Vardy, as I would not second-guess any of the top tactical brains up and down the pit lanes of endurance racing around the world, and I put Joe firmly in that camp.
Oh, yes.
If he believes, huge slide from the leader last time around, coming up the uphill as the car unloaded at the top of the uphill. That tells you how worn his Michelins are. So Owen is doing a grand job to hold on to that car and give the best possible opportunity for Hugh Plum to jump into that car. Question will be, can they hold on to the lead? Even if they have to stop again, they will need so much less fuel than everybody else. They're going to get a super quick pit stop. So they're still driving themselves into a really good position. The gap between first and second, in fact, the Hyundai Veloster is now up into 3rd position. Now, Robin Liddell, who's now at the wheel of the 71 car, has just set the fastest lap of the race, 54.446. I think that's a new lap record. I'll let Jeremy check that out as we hear from Andrew Davis with Shea.
And he just said it was one of the easiest lime rocks you've ever had. Andrew, you come out of the car dripping wet. Just how hard was the battling, though?
Well, yeah, easiest should be in quotation marks for sure. Just compared to some of my other lime rock events, it's, I was able to get a gap when the car's behind. I was trying just to ebb and flow of keeping the gap from the Audi and the Mercedes in front, but they had a little bit of pace on us. So then I started just conserving tires. So that made the last 10 laps a little easier, but man, it's hot. It's so hot in that Camaro. It's hot in all the cars, but the front engine cars, I'm glad the Rebel Rock guys did a good job with our cooling. And I only knew that it wasn't working, or that it was working when I turned it off on the end lap, and then I realized that, the cool suit and the helmet blower were both working just fine, but it's hot.
So presumably you had to come in for tires, not fuel. The tires were wearing off faster than the fuel was burning.
No, I was able to save the tires through the stint, so that was fuel. So yeah, we used up every drop there. You know, we had lost a few liters from the last race, so that kind of changed our strategy a little bit. But I was just trying to save fuel. You know, I've been at this for a while, and I know the starting position like that. So my goal is to keep it clean, and you know, the traffic was not too bad actually. Everybody's behaving out there right now. We'll see the second half of the race though.
Well, they're trying to get your attention for a bit of a debrief. Phil's waving at you, so I'll let you go. The leader is in the pit lane. Owen Trinkler is out. Hugh Plum is getting in. 4 tires by the looks of it. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah, and Hugh's already installed there, waiting for the fuel. They've gone very, very long. And now the car is waved out. And they've got the first pit box, and it's out as through comes the Camaro.
Trying to make a move on the number 96 BMW. Side by side, they were headed towards the Samposi Strait Bridge before Big Bend.
Just trying to work out.
Whoa.
There was absolutely nothing left for Owen Trinkler at the end there when Kenton Cook was pressuring him coming up the uphill, but Owen did a grand job and got as close to the hour as he possibly could, just trying to work out where that car has come back out. Hugh Plum right ahead of the number 71 of Andrew Davies, but I still think he's got an advantage here as they go through the West Bend. I reckon it's the 35 that scored as the leader as he goes through, but they haven't stopped yet. But Jeff Westphal should come through next. That was the first car, the Carbon car, one of the first cars to stop. He's come through. The Hyundai Veloster is going to be in 3rd position overall, so I reckon that's Hugh in 3rd in class as he comes through this time, right in front of the Camaro.
Right in front of the Camaro, exactly. So staying out long there hasn't worked to their benefit. So if there's a caution, they might have an opportunity to make it on one less stop. If it goes green all the way, they'll be looking pretty good. But they came in well before the hour mark, so I think it's going to be tough. I think staying out here might not have been the best strategy.
Problem for the number 7 Park Place Volt machine. Volt Lightning car coming in, and that just makes me think of another drink that's just decided to call itself Lightning Volt, hasn't it? Let's go down to Shea Adam.
Tyler Cook, that was one great stint from you out there. You said you don't think you could have driven any harder during that, but just how difficult was it to drag the number 2 Euro Parts car up to the head?
It was getting pretty tough. You know, the left rear is starting to wear down more and more, and that's a tough part of this track, is saving the left rear as long as you can. But where we started to get to where we were, I had to push the car and, you know, adapt to it. Great racing out there. The racing has truly been amazing. You know, there's a little bit of argy-bargy, but it's not as bad as years past. I mean, people are getting marks on their cars, but it's not like we're talking about ripping off fenders and things like that. So hats off to all the competitors. It's some good racing. Hopefully the fans are enjoying it at home and watching it here, and stay cool.
On the next stop, do you think we might see a 2-tire stop for you guys?
Maybe. It just all depends on what the crew chief wants to call. You just kind of have to see what the rest of the cars do. Some cars might do no tires. That'd be really hard because it seems like the left rear starts to wear off about 30 minutes in. So there's no way you're going to make, you know, an hour on the same left side tires. So we'll see what happens and hope for the best.
Great job today. I just saw the TCR leader is in.
Thank you, Shea. Been a long run for Mikey Lewis, came in from 3rd position just a few moments ago. A huge moment for Tom O'Gorman as he came over the top of the rise of the uphill, and that Volt car going slowly, sitting right on the racing line, and Tom actually had to pass it on the left-hand side, which meant he was on the grass for about maybe 50, 60 feet, but he managed to keep the Honda Civic pointing in the right direction. I don't even think he lost a position to Alex Popper. No, he didn't. However, there has been a place change because Hugh Plum has now been passed by the Camaro of Andrew Davies.
Yeah, he was ahead of him. He got ahead right after the pit stop. He's been ahead for a couple of laps now. So effectively, the number 39 car was a big gainer in that round of pit stops. But hats off to Jim Cox. He's been leading this race. He's just been overtaken by Jeff Westphal, but turning super consistent as he's gone well over the hour. So that's certainly, if he can do another couple of laps, then Dylan Murray's going to be able to go flat out. The problem is, of course, he's going to lose around about a lap. Yes,
Yeah.
he's probably just about going to fall off the lead lap.
It's going to be
But
very
he will be a lap
close.
behind. But,
Yeah, it's going to be very
but
close.
it's been a really good first stint here for Jim Cox.
But if he can do it without another pit stop, Jeremy, from here,
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, then that's not the big disadvantage.
Absolutely.
The strategy call here is we've got a BMW going slowly. Oh, left rear puncture for Robbie Foley. Disaster for Turner Motorsport. That was a car that was in with a chance, and he'll chew around about half a lap to the pit lane. My point on the strategy calls at the front of the field is you've got to decide whether you're going to split the race up into roughly 3 equal parts, which is what some of the GS guys have done, and stopped after 40 minutes or thereabouts. 3 4s are 12, 1 20 minutes, so there you go. Or whether you push as close as you can to the hour and expect a bit of either yellow flag in the second half of the race. But even if you do have to make that second stop and you've been close to the hour, your second stop is going to be so much shorter than the guys who stop for the second time after another 40 minutes that you're really going to make up that time back again. Robbie Foley gets back into the pit lane. Shea Adam is watching.
No bodywork damage, which is most important. The tire has stayed intact, but the crew was already up on the wall. They were expecting Robbie to come in here shortly, so this has just moved up their pit stop ever so slightly. The wheel that has come off the car completely intact, which is interesting, just with no air and kind of pushed off to one side as it should not be. They are doing left side tires again for Robbie Foley. Let's see if they run around and change the right side this time. Remember the first time they came in, 2-tire stop. This time, 2-tire stop. They're doing it again. So they're just waiting on the fuel. And Robbie looking in his right-hand mirror. Birthday boy, Robbie Foley, is sent away.
So they've only done 2 sets of left-hand side tyres on that car. And with 57 minutes to go, they're going to struggle to get to the end from here. They really needed to do about another 10, 15 laps.
Yeah, well, you know,
To make their strategy work. They'll be right on the edge there, and they might have to make a 3rd stop, which is not what they wanted.
no, they're certainly going to have to go on some fuel save here if they've got any chance to make it to the end. That's going to be a tall order. That's unfortunate for number 96 car, but the number 98, he got to just about half distance to the TCR leader, Michael Lewis, before handing over to Mark Wilkins. So this is becoming a cakewalk, really. Now for
They haven't even lost the lead, Joe.
No, they haven't even lost the lead.
Not by a long stretch.
And they're the only team, I think, that's going to be any chance of making the whole distance on just one pit stop. Meanwhile, Jeff Westphal, he's just turned some really good laps. He's got the gap now well over 8 seconds in an Audi at the front of the field, so this is looking really good. They came into this race just 1 point behind James Clay and David Jones in number 82 BMW. They're running at the moment in a distant 8th position.
Have barely called their name, have we? To be honest. Robin Liddell in 2nd position for the Chevy Camaro of Rebel Rock Racing. Then Hugh Plum back into 3rd. So he's got back ahead of Cory Fergus. They're having a cracking...
No, that was after the...
sorry, no, it was Robin that had gone past him.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Robin that had gone past him. Yes,
But that
absolutely
battle
right.
now between Fergus and Marcella is continuing as it was in the early stages with the other drivers, the wheel number 69 and the 60. Of course, the 96 was in there as well until they had that puncture just a little while ago.
Well, we mentioned the 82 Bimmer World BMW. Devin Jones has just turned that car's fastest lap of the race, and 54.8, and he's trying to close down on Erik Voss ahead of him in the Mercedes AMG, the 56. That's the bright orange, one of the 2 bright orange cars out there. Shea Adam, Christian Hohenadel has had the 57 car brake on him in a rather terminal way, I would say.
It's overheating issues, John, and there's a fire on the pit lane down at the far end. I can't tell which car it is, but it is down toward the... Oh my gosh, it's a number 2 Audi. It's a number 2 Audi, the Euro Parts Audi. There's white smoke billowing it from it on the pit lane. Kenton Cook is walking completely crestfallen over to the pit wall. That car looks like it's done.
Fire extinguisher around the engine bay of that car. Great work by all the team down there in the pit lane. Well, that car had made its pit stop and it was not due back in for a wee while. The 57, just to reiterate, as we had that fire on the pit lane, 57 overheating for the remaining Winward Racing car. The other car did not make the start. Russell Ward lost control coming up the uphill, put the car nosed into the wall, and that car not able to be repaired. But that looks like the number 2 car's day is done as well. Oh no, Kenton Cook is putting his gloves back on. And they're saying, get back in.
Kenton saying it's not still a barbecue. I can drive it.
Fuel hose is going back in, Shea.
Yeah, it might have just been a refueling fire. They do have the engine hatch open, which is interesting. So I'm just making my way down there sort of cautiously to find out what happened. But yeah, Kenton is getting back into that one.
Well, there's so much rubber as well out there. It could well have just been a bit of rubber pickup that's caught a light as well, although with the engine cover up, that would tend to suggest something a little more serious. It's, I think what the crew was telling the IMSA guys were that something's come up and hit the bottom of the car. There was a sort of a fist movement, banging of the fist movement. 75 Compass Mclaren goes down the pit lane in front of us. The car refires for Kenton Cook. This is the Europarts Rover Motor Oil Audi number 2, the Stars and Stripes car. Yeah, Compass Mclaren rejoins. Let's give you some gaps then with 53 minutes to go. 7 seconds at the front of the field. Audi R8 number 39, the dark grey and bright green Audi ahead of the white, green and black with a little bit of yellow on it, Camaro. So that's 39 from 71 by 7 seconds. Then half a second further back, Hugh Plum is holding on really well to Robin Liddell. And now we'll find out how the strategy plays out, or at least we'll find out in about 25-30 minutes time, I suspect, if this stays green. And if it does, it's going to be a very interesting last 10 or 15 minutes. Very interesting indeed. Liddell will have to come in round about 25 laps, as will Westphal, and that will leave them, round about 15 laps, and that will leave them about 40 minutes to run to the end. I think that's when they'll come in. They'll split that. I don't think they'll go as far as they actually can. And then we'll have to see who's done the fuel calculations. Just on 52 minutes to go. Hyundai Veloster, Mark Wilkins leads from Todd Lamb in the 84. That's the Atlanta Speedworks car. They're doing a pretty good job as well.
Yeah, very good job.
Third is the second of the Hyundai Velosters. Got right close to his teammate, but then that car's dropped away after just before and after the pit stop. So I don't know if they're nursing a problem there.
No, well, I think it's right shortly before the pit stop. Suddenly the pace dropped off for Harry. I think he was trying to stretch it, and I think he'd used his tyres up, and I think he was really struggling in that towards the end of his stint before handing over that car. So now the gap is coming down between first and second. And Hugh Plum hanging in there in third place as well. It was as much as 8.7 seconds on lap 66. We just completed lap 72. It's down to 5.5 seconds now between the Audi of Jeff Westphal, who's certainly consistent mid 55 second laps. It was a 55.0 for Robin Liddell on that last lap in the Camaro, and matching him almost was Hugh Plum right there in third position.
Well, Hugh doing a cracking job to stay with Robin Liddell, but if he can sit on that Camaro's lines and have Robin drag him back to the leader, he's getting a little bit of fuel advantage as well by sitting behind him down the Sam Posey straight. It's not the worst thing that could happen to them. Cory Fergus is fourth position at the moment, but he's quite a way back from those three at the front of the field, something in the region of 15 seconds. Leader did have a bit of traffic the last couple of laps, so Jeff's been having to deal with that, and then of course the chasing cars will have to do that in a lap or two's time.
Yeah, keep your eyes on Dylan Murray, who's turning that car's best laps race car number 35. He's running in the 9th position. He is a lap down to the overall leader Jeff Westphal, but we're pretty sure, unless there's an extended caution period, that Westphal is going to have to make another pit stop. Number 35 went a lot longer than anybody else before making its first stop. So Jim Cox at the wheel of that car did the opening stint, a really good one. He got to 1 hour and 2 minutes, which is very, very impressive. He was just being, I think, conservative with his pace, and now we'll see whether that works out in their favour, with still 50 minutes or just less remaining in this race. Number 55.3 there for our race leader, lap time. The car's best lap was a 54.6. The old lap record, by the way, was a 55.0.
Really?
So, you know, it's been a record-breaking pace, certainly at the front of the field.
Sort of what we expected, to be honest. TCR has been a real Hyundai fest for the first half of the race. Atlanta Speedworks trying to keep the little blue 98 car honest. Some, 16 seconds behind the leader. We're in 10th position, by the way, after the first set of stops, Jeremy, for the Hyundai Veloster. It's a lap off the overall lead, and it'll go second lap down shortly, I think, such is the pace of Jeff Westphal at the front of the field. But that is a really good run as Cory Fergus pits. Cory Fergus pits with 50 minutes to go. Right, they must think they can go from here, and I presume they'll bring this full share Adam and put 4 new Michelin Pilots on that number 69 Motorsport in Action car.
That's exactly what they're doing, John. We were talking about some cars going for 2 tires. Well, not the McLaren. They have the time and they have the center locking wheel gun, which means that they do have a little bit easier of a time to change 4 tires. No, they have just on the left side tires. They pulled a blinder. They had the right sides up on the pit wall, but it is left side tires only for Cory Fergus, and he is down and away.
That will have been determined there, Jeremy, by how much fuel they needed to get into that car. That's a relatively short middle stint then, and the white, black and blue Motorsport in Action McLaren rejoins, and that's about track position as much as it is anything. But I reckon now that they'll be able to go to the end from here, and they've effectively done their last pit stop first, which puts them in a fabulous position if there is any intervention from the safety car. That's what they've gambled on there.
Yes, because if there is a safety car, if you're not familiar with the regulations in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, if there is a safety car, the pits are closed right away. You cannot make a pit stop right away once the caution flag comes out and the pits are closed. So everybody will pack up, and the cars that are behind number 69 car they'll all close up. But the bad news is, I think he's going to be a lap down now to the race leader. So if there is a full course caution, that's not going to be a benefit for him. So he needs this race to go green from here.
Right, okay.
So now we've got just 5 cars, I think, on the lead lap. Yeah, 82 car is the first car lap down. The championship leader, Devin Jones, is doing a good job running the same sort of pace as the race leader, Jeff Westphal, but he is a lap behind him.
Oh, problem for the championship leading Honda. Lots of smoke coming out the back of that car, and immediately Tom O'Gorman gets off the racing line. Now that's coming from, I think, the right front of that car. I don't think that's exhaust smoke. Oh, it is. Yes, he's got a little bit of burning oil underneath that car. I think that's an engine problem. This is drama. 2 races in a row for the championship leader. He's made it back to his pits. They'll bring out a set of tyres, and the IMSA official is saying, have a look under the hood there, because I think there's fluid coming out of that car. There's a oh yeah, there's a line of something has come off underneath there, and it looks to me as though there was a dark line behind the cars that was coming into the pit lane.
And it's not some sort of rubber, which is normally what you would see at that point in the track as people squeal on their brakes to try and get it down to the pit lane speed limiter. There is a good deal of white smoke coming out from the engine bay of this Honda TCR car.
Sure, I can see from the hood is up, and there is oil sprayed all underneath the right-hand side of the bonnet. An oil line, maybe a turbo oil line, has come off on there, and whatever brand of synthetic oil they use on that car is all over the underside of the hood.
Tom hasn't gotten out though yet.
It's probably fixable, Shea, but they're going to drop time, but they need the points for the championship.
Well, if they finish now as they are, aren't they already down to last place? So they'll get last place points as it is.
I don't think they've dropped that far. Oh yes, they have now. They've dropped down to 12th out of 13. You're absolutely right.
But there's the championship lead gone for this car.
Yes. Yeah, who was closest to them? It was the 61 Gavin Enstone and John Morley car. They were only 5 points away. It's going to be a very good day for Hyundai, and the 98, if it stays like this, they'll go from 3rd to 1st position in the TCR standings, and that'll do Hyundai's Championship Challenge the power of good as well in terms of the manufacturers, where they were 12 points away from Honda, only 6 points away from Audi in second. That's still to play out in 44 minutes time. At the head of the field, Jeff Westphal's lead down to 3.5 seconds as Robin Liddell inexorably hunts down that dark grey and green Audi number 39 in his white, green and yellow Camaro, the GT4R, in real form at the moment, and he's pulled out 3.5 seconds now through traffic to Hugh Plum in the 46, the pole sitting car from TGM.
56.6 seconds, 80 laps completed now, 43 minutes remaining. And there's number 96 car comes across the line in the 12th position. That's the last car that is 1 lap down. The race leader, though, he's bottled up now behind Erik Foss in car number 56. That car is running in the 5th position. Remarkable consistency that number 56 team has had. In their last 45 races, they've had 33 top 10s, 21 top 5s. And they're always right there or thereabouts, and still in, not out of the championship contention at all. But now Erik Foss is battling to keep the race leader behind him. He doesn't want to go 1 lap down.
No, absolutely not. They're on I think on a slightly different strategy as well. They're pitted, about the same. They last pitted at the end of lap 50.
Yeah, so there's no way they can reach the end, I don't think, on just one more pit stop.
No, they're 9 laps worse off than Hugh Plum, as Rebel Rock Racing appear, Shea Adam, to be getting ready to bring in Robin Liddell.
Not this lap, but the next time around, the guys have indicated they have new tires up on the wall. Now, they have 4 ready to go. It's going to be a question of whether they put them on or not. I think they probably are going to go for 4-tire stop this time. They did last time, so it would make sense.
LA Honda World Civic Type R, the championship leader coming in here, has had 2 race weekends to forget. First at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, when a broken engine mount broke a plug that they couldn't find, the car wouldn't run. They finished dead last. Tom O'Gorman very sportingly getting off the racing line as there was a engine oil line of some description that's come adrift at the front of the engine. I wonder if that's another broken engine mount, that's pulled that off. But the upshot of it is they will finish at the back of the TCR field again, and their championship lead is going to disappear at the end of this one. And that's the first time since Daytona that they won't see their name on top of the standings at the end of a race weekend. Robin Liddell has joined Shea Adam in the pits, but I don't think he'd be getting out the car to talk to you.
No, I don't think I could stick my microphone, although he has opened the door, but that is just to get a little bit of extra airflow in through the car, and a little bit of a water bottle that he had in the compartment. They passed him through the passenger side, and he actually threw out the driver's side, so it's completely empty now, but he did manage to get his rehydration done. They are doing 4 tires and waiting on fuel. He pulled up a little bit far in the box, so the fueler actually, to get the hose all the way in, is leaning at about a 45-degree angle, full body pressed into the fuel line. They are done with the fuel, just waiting on the right front tire to be secured. Car drops off the air jacks. Robin fires it up, and he's still sitting here. There we go. He was waiting to be told to go, like a good obedient driver.
And he will be able to get to the end of the race from there. 10th position overall, and a good lead in TCR for Mark Wilkins in the Hyundai Veloster. Brian Herter, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, over in Iowa for the IndyCar, the NTT IndyCar race later on this evening. The boys are doing a cracking job. The team have really performed well this weekend. 1st and 3rd at the moment for the Velosters.
Yeah, number 98 car very much in control. I think they can probably get to the end without doing another pit stop. Everybody else, not the case.
They could almost stop, have a soft-boiled egg and a cup of tea and still get to the end in the lead. Just spotting a moment or two ago, Jeremy, as the leader came by, and thanks as well to Alan Prosser, who's picked this up from the TV coverage as well. There's a little bit of damage on the left front of the leading number 39. Jeff Westphal car. And it's just the additional aero on the front, but that's not good news around here. You need as much front bite as you can around here. A lot of the teams complaining about understeer, about push. Robin Liddell back out on the track in
yes.
the number 71. Where did he rejoin? Sixth position.
Yes, 6 or 7. Yeah, 6 because he just moved up. That's right. Because sixth position and not far ahead. Number 40 and number 69 car, Cory Fergus. He's made his final pit stop as well, and there's only a couple of seconds or so between those two cars, and we'll see whether the 69 car can actually close that gap as number 71 car gets up to speed after making that final pit stop. But still the race leader, number 39 car, Jeff Westphal, he cannot find a way past Erik Foss, number 56 car, but he's still maintaining a pretty good gap over Hugh Plum in number 46, who I think is probably settling into a pace and trying now to stretch that fuel. But he's going to have to do an hour and 3 minutes. He really needs a yellow, I think. He's going to be struggling without a fuel course caution to make it. Big time.
Cal Marcelli comes in from what is at the moment third position. That's the Forge Line Mustang share Adam watching.
And this one looks like it's going to be left sides only for the Ford Mustang and Cal Marcelli, and a whole lot of fuel, of course.
I just wonder if they've been assessing, well, they will have been assessing, Shea, the wear on the tyres on the right-hand side. Are they going to go? No, there was a little bit of a fake on the left front, on the right front there, as if they were going to put a tyre on, and then they walked away. So just left on that car there.
Just left side tires. It's the bull ring. It's a short oval in effect, and Cal Marcelli, 2 tires and fuel.
This is intriguing to me. The very best of Michelin Pilot Challenge. We've got some cars taking 2, some cars taking 4, some cars stretching fuel.
Yes, it's fun, isn't it?
And dare I say it, this is what you get, even in a relatively short endurance race, Jeremy, when you go green all the time. People are having to make these tactical decisions because it's not an easy 2 hours to just say we can split it down the middle for most people. More debris out on the track. Oh, now that's right on the racing line on the Sam Posey straight just before the start-finish line. Is this going to require a yellow? All kinds of tyre debris as well there, but that looked like a bit of carbon fibre. Don't forget, we will be asking you for your nominations and votes, please, for the Forge Line Wheels Spirit of the Race Award. We'll announce it at the end of the race. It is your votes that will decide that, and although the debris has been thrown off the track, I think the full course yellow has come out, and that is great news for the Murillo Racing AMG Mercedes, who has just managed to stay ahead of the leader. Just managed the third place car, Erik Foss. It's been thrown to the edge of the track, it's off the line, and how ironic. It has been run over by a couple of cars. Oh, it was a piece of headlamp glass of some description. I thought it was a bit of carbon, but it's a headlamp cover.
It's a big one. A window, maybe, was it? Side window?
Could be a side window. Safety car is out for the debris after it's been obliterated.
Well, that's tremendous news. We've really got 3 cars on the lead lap now, and this certainly is going to play in the hands of number 46 car. I think this is going to enable them to be able to make the finish without any more pit stops. Number 56 car is going to be on the lead. That can make a pit stop now, as can the number 39. So I fancy all 3 cars. Number 46 car probably doesn't need to stop.
It was much bigger than I thought. Yeah, it was the window from the Wins car. Great pickup from, and I hope they take this up in Charlotte in the way that I mean it. It's the left-hand side window from the 35 Mercedes, and a great pickup from what I will affectionately call the Tape Apes up in Charlotte for NASCAR Productions, part of the North Carolina motorsport community up there. And I know it's not tape anymore, but I'm old school, and brilliant stuff by the replay crew up in Charlotte to spot that for the number 35 car. and send that to us here in the booth. So Dylan Murray will have had a bit of a blowy moment. Now, this is also good news for all the TCR cars behind Mark Wilkins, because they'll get to come around and pack up behind him as well.
And to make a pit stop, because we...
well, yes, and they can, I mean, they can easily go to the end from here, can't they? Yeah.
But they've given fresh tyres, and it's tyres that are the key factor in this race.
Now, there's a Chevy IMSA AMR safety truck on the front straight over what remains of the plexiglass left-hand side window, and they'll then, once the cars have gone through, they'll sweep that up, the remnants of it. It was absolutely pummeled by the cars, and that's a really sensible thing to do, to park the truck over it and then go back and sweep it up once the cars have come through, and make sure that they've got all the bits and pieces out the way. There was the worry as well will not just be for the plexiglass, but also for the surround that popped out with it as well, which might have been a little more substantial. I don't think there was any choice there from race control. The race had been running green for all that time, for an hour and a half. And we will have around about a half-hour run to the finish with 33 minutes on the clock. Okay, well, Shea, have the pits opened yet? I don't think they have.
No,
they just did.
Oh, they just
okay.
have now.
Yep.
Okay.
They're just doing the wave around now, and we've got several cars. We've got 3 cars. The 84, number 21, number 54. They had not been lapped by the number 98, so they are back on the lead lap. We've got 4 cars on the lead lap in TCR. I think number 3 car did get a lap back, but is he? Where is he? I think he's another lap down.
Leaders coming in to see me, Jeremy. The number 39, Carbon Autosports Audi, is making a dive down the pit lane.
Yeah.
We'll see all 3 leaders on the pit lane.
Yeah, you won't see the 46. The 46.
Or the 982.
Wow.
They both stayed out, and the 71. So the Audi was the only one who came in. Behind him is the number 40, the pink Mustang. PF Racing, that's the sound of the number 99 Aston Martin, and also the number 4, Ted Giovanni's Foundation car, being driven by Guy Cosmo. And we also have the 56 Murillo Racing car. Erik Foss is in. All of these cars are receiving service. It's left side tires on all of them so far. I'll have to watch and see if any of the other cars do right sides. No, for Guy Cosmo, it is just fuel. And for the 13, Scott Hargrove, just fuel.
Something very odd on the timing and scoring at the moment. I'll tell you that Plum is going to be leading the race. Robert Liddell didn't have to come in because he stopped. Remember, we said that he stopped with about 40 odd minutes to go, and we thought he could go at the end. Who else did we say that had stopped early that we thought would be able to go all the way to the end? 4 tyres for Erik Foss in the 56 car. Jeff Westphal is out, stayed in the car. And Cory Fergus, of course, will have stayed out as well.
They're
that was the 69
They're all a lap
car.
down, those guys.
Right.
So that's not...
Liddell's not a lap down, though.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely he is, yeah. Number 82 car was the first car a lap down.
Right, okay.
So we only had 3 cars on the lead lap, and for number 46 car, he's now going to be he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck, except for the fact there'll probably be quite a bit of traffic between himself and the 2nd and 3rd place cars, because number 39 and number 56 they are going to have fresh tyres. If the number 46 car had come in, it would have kind of protected themselves against the other guys. But what this does right now, it keeps number 71 and all the other cars behind him still 1 lap down.
Correct. Well, so at the moment then, as in comes the Veloster from the lead, the 98 Veloster from the lead of TCR. Shea Adams watching that one.
Both of the Hyundais are going to come into the pit lane, as is the 54 Audi, the JDC Miller Motorsport car that won a year ago, is getting new front tires. For the Hyundais, they are doing left side tires on the number 98, and it looks like left side tires on the number 21 as well. No fuel going into those 2 cars as far as I can tell. There was a bit of fuel going into the Hart Honda, that's the number 89. They are doing left side tires for Ryan Eversley, front tires for the number 5 Alpha, as they too are refueling. Number 54 is the first one back back, rolling away, but the 98 further up the pit lane manages to get out, still with the lead intact. 54 by my count is now up into second. Ooh, they're going to do 4 tires on the number 21 Hyundai now, so that's interesting. Change. We have the number 52, the lone Honda left from the LA Honda World, makes it out next, and then goes the number 5 Alpha, still waiting on, oh, now it's a 4-tire stop for Ryan Eversley. That's an interesting one too. So 4 tires for the 89 and the 21, 2 tires for everybody else, and no fuel for the Hyundais.
And only the top 4 in TCR still on the lead lap as they came in for those stops. And when we go to the restart, Hugh Plum's going to have Robin Liddell right behind him, but a lap, so a mile and a half behind him, effectively.
Certainly interesting, number 84 car elected to stay out there and not make a pit stop, whereas all the other 3 cars are on the lead lap did.
So here's how they're going to restart, as the number 2, by the way, that had that fire, did rejoin for Kenton Cook, although he's coming back into the pits. He'll have got one of his laps back there, wouldn't he, when he was waved around. The class split is going on now, so all the GS cars will cycle to the front. And this is how they're going to restart. It'll be Hugh Plum, who is leading the race. Then he'll have Robin Liddell behind him in the 71 car, who's a lap off the field. Behind Robin is Cory Fergus in the 69 McLaren, who's a lap off the lead. Then I think it's going to be Kyle Marcelli, who's a lap off the lead in the 60, the bright-coloured Mustang. Then it's going to be Dylan Murray, a lap off the lead, and Robbie Foley, a lap off the lead. And Jeff Westphal, who's the next car on the lead lap, is well down the line, but has a fresh set of Michelin tyres. Just remind me, Shea, Erik Voss and Jeff Westphal, they both took 4 new tyres.
Correct. Both of them took 4 new tyres, and the number 82 Bimmerworld BMW, the championship leader coming into this race, is also into the pit lane now. That's because they were between the leader and the safety car. 2 tires for Devin Jones, who also has a stock car background, so this should be a lot of fun.
Already got a vote for TGM for the Forge Line Wales Spirit of the Race Award. Hashtag Forge Line SOTR at IMSA Radio. We'll announce that at the end of the race as we go back to green. And Hugh Plum does not want to let Robin Liddell get his lap back. He's protecting him from the rear at the moment. Cory Fergus right there as well as they go through Big Bend. Very close to a move to block there on the Samposi straight. The stewards will be looking at that green flag with 27 minutes to go, and Hugh Plum will take it to the flag from here on tyres that have been on for over half an hour on that Mercedes, and he's driving very defensively at the moment. Robin Liddell wants to get back on the lead lap. At the moment that car is in 5th position and the first car off the lead lap, and he's off the lead lap by the length of an AMG Mercedes. Meantime, behind there's a cracking scrap going on as the Forge Line sponsored Mustang comes through, and that was a battle for position, and that's Kyle Marcelli going up into the 6th position, taking that from Cory Fergus. Robert Liddell gets a great punch off the final corner, but then can't make the inside pass as the Mercedes picks up pace down the middle of the straight. There was a bit of rubbing there from turns 1 to 2. Well, we've seen Robin drive very, very well, and he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's here. He'll know that. Gets down the inside, going towards the uphill, and this time I think he'll be able to make the pass as he pulls alongside, and he does, and Hugh lets him go. Now Hugh
Smart
just
move.
needs, yeah, that was a smart move. Yeah, doesn't need to.
There's no point in making
Fight a little
fighting
bit.
that battle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fight a little bit, but you don't want to be trading paint when you're leading the race. Robin's
Right.
got a mile and a half to come round and then 4 the cars before he even gets to the back of this. Now, obviously, a safety car will make a difference there. Now, what about the Mustang? How quick is the Mustang in a straight line? As the orange number 60 is trying to make its lap back as well. Kyle Marcelli will not want to see the competitor pony car from Chevrolet getting away in front of him. But that's the leader of the race. So again, he'll want to be forceful, but not too forceful. Time ticking down, coming down to 25 minutes now, Jeremy. And
Yeah.
Hugh Plum has 8 seconds on Jeff Westphal. That's the actual gap that's important right now. At some stage, the Colt Motorsports Mustang will get through, but what Hugh's got to do is not slow himself down by trying to defend too hard.
Right. He's got 8 seconds over Jeff Westphal and Erik Voss, who are the only. Well, there's one other car lead lap. Devin Jones, number 82. He got the wave around. He was between the number 46 and a safety car after the number 39 car came into the pit lane. So he got back on the lead lap. He got the wave around. He made the pit stop. So he is at the tail end of the lead lap. He's only a few car lengths ahead of the number 71 car, actually, which is going to be the battle for the last cars on the lead lap. We've got 5 cars, therefore, on the lead lap at the moment. But certainly in a comfortable lead for Hugh Plum. 7.5 seconds last time around.
Rebel Rock Racing get rather overexcited. They've just tweeted, Robin Liddell takes the lead with a great pass with 25 minutes remaining. Well, no, not quite.
Thinking, but
it might happen.
Tell you what, though, in TCR, Stephen Simpson's up in the 2nd place now, right
great run
behind the number 98 car.
TGM for the Forge Line Spirit of the Race. That's another one. And we've got the 56 Erik Voss car, the Murillo Racing car for Forge Line Wheels Spirit of the Race.
Number 84 car, that did not make a pit stop under this caution period. I'm kind of surprised they wouldn't have wanted to put fresh tyres on that Atlanta Speedworks car, but he's running in the 3rd position. It's a battle for the lead now with the number 98 and the number 54. That is a battle for the lead. Number 3 car directly ahead of him on the racetrack. That is not a battle for position. The number 3 car is 5th in TCR, but almost a complete lap down to the leaders.
I think Rebel Rock Racing were nominating Robin Liddell for the Forge Line Spirit of the Race Award again. Surely they can't win it 3 times in a row. I have no problem with that. But Robin Liddell now has to make up a lap. Devin Jones with his fastest lap of the race in the BMW M4. He's now the first car off the lead lap.
No, he's
it's just on the back.
Correct. He number 82 and number 71 are the last cars on the lead lap, but almost a complete lap down. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and
look at Stephen Simpson he thought about trying to make a move there at the left-hander, not quite close enough to the number 98.
Alex Popper now behind the wheel of the Alpha leads that battle. Really, that car should have been up there. It had the pace today, but they've now almost fallen off the lead lap. In fact, they have fallen off the lead lap. No, they haven't. That's just the end of the lead lap. Stephen Simpson loses the position.
That's
that's not a position. That's the hot car coming back through. My apologies. So this is another car trying to get back on the lead lap, possibly on different strategies as well with different tyre life.
Or has Stephen Simpson pushed a bit too hard on those Michelin tyres? The Hyundai seems to be very, very good on its tyres, very gentle on its tyres. They had a fresh set after making that pit stop during that caution period. 100 laps now completed by the race leader. Gap from 1st to 2nd, 6.2 now between number 46 and number 39. So it's coming down just a little bit.
Yeah, about half a second that time around.
Yeah, and number 39 car has of course the advantage of a fresh set of Michelin tyres.
As does Erik Voss in the Murillo Racing car behind him.
Indeed.
He's just put that car's fastest lap of the race in, a 54.8. So this is getting tasty. Up front, 20 minutes to go. Live in sound and vision from Lime Rock Park trackside with Jeremy Shaw, Shea Adam and John Hindhoff in the booth. This is fantastic. And we've got more to come, another 2 hours and 40 minutes to come this afternoon. And we'll have exactly the same sort of scraps, I am sure, in both classes of the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. But for now, our attention firmly fixed on what's going on in the Michelin Pilot Challenge here for IMSA Sports Car GT Festival. Sensible driving by Hugh Plum, 54.5 lap last week. That car's 55.7 that time around. That car's best lap is a 54.5. So Hugh having to soft pedal a little bit. Now, will he just breathe out and let the Mustang down the inside into turn 1? Doesn't really need to. Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he's worried the Mustang will hold him up. Oh, there's a touch there from the 60 car, and there's a bit of bodywork come off one of those 2 cars. Kyle Marcel getting a little frustrated, flashing his headlights.
Well,
he's seeing Robin Liddell disappear up the road, of course, and that's the guy he's chasing down.
Is exactly right. But the number 46 car, he's turning 55.9 last time, 55.7 last time around, and he lost a full second to Jeff Westphal in number 39 car. There's some traffic in between them, but including these guys battling for what is effectively 6th place, number 60, number 69, and number 35. This is certainly fascinating stuff. With still, what, 18 minutes remaining.
So around about 20 laps at racing speed. And Hugh Plum has basically got to tilt his rear view mirror up so he's looking at the roof and not worry about what's going on behind and drive his own race. Liddell has moved away, but not massively, I have to say. He hasn't cleared off into the distance. He'll be hoping for another safety car, of course. Hugh Plum is quite happily just sitting at the head of that field of cars. It's a bit like me coming in this morning. Set the cruise control 2 miles an hour over the speed limit.
And the number 21 car, by the way, has moved past number 84. I think that decision not to change tyres wasn't probably the best move by Atlanta Speedworks. So Todd Lamb is unable to keep pace with the top 3 now in TCR.
Mason Filippi right back in it as well for that Veloster that had dropped down. Oh, problem for the 57 car. Another problem. Oh, I thought the 57 car was out.
It's been going slowly for a while.
So that car has come back out, but is driving slowly. That's Christian Hohenadel, who's been out for quite a few laps now. But that car doesn't look happy. Looks like it's sitting low at the back end of the car. It was overheating, but they've come back out again. Sitting in 20th in GS at the moment. Overheating issues, as Shea told us earlier on, for that car. After Bryce Ward had done a really good job in qualifying. He was a bit of a pinball early on. Leader coming down to turn 7. Nice bit of clear track ahead, and the Mustang is Kyle Marcelli behind him. The Merc pulls a few car lengths, maybe a car length and a half, doesn't even have to defend into turn 1. Then there's a few seconds back to the Mclaren now of Cory Fergus.
Yeah, just working his way past Trent Hinman, who is a couple of laps down to the overall lead. Trent Hinman there being sensible, not holding up number 39 car.
Problem that Jeff Westphal has now, he's only 4.5 seconds behind the leader, but I think there's 4 cars between him and the leader.
Yeah, and
they're all
cars.
having their own battle.
Yeah, all quick cars, you're right, dicing for the 6th, 7th and 8th positions.
There's 3 cars now between Westphal and the leader. Hugh Plum, an absolute model of consistency, 55.6 last time around, so he's picked up his pace a little bit. And this time the Mustang a wee bit closer onto the front straight. But again, Plum doesn't feel the need to defend into the first corner, comes on the racing line. Doesn't carry quite as much speed through the centre of the corner, which is where Marcelli just gave him a little tap a couple of 3 laps ago. So behind Marcelli, maybe a 2.5 seconds further back is Cory Fergus in the Motorsport in Action McLaren. Then it's Dylan Murray in the 35 one-window Mercedes. And then it's the race leader. Then it's the race second place car, the grey and green Audi. In TCR, 1.5 seconds between Wilkins and Simpson, with 3 seconds further back, Mason Filippi in the black Hyundai. So 98 blue Hyundai, 54 red, white and blue Audi, 21. Next is the black Hyundai Veloster. That's your top 3 in TCR. By the way, sitting in 11th, 12th and 13th position. 15 minutes to go. Can only imagine the tension down on the TGM pit wall. their second car in 13th position at the moment, trying to close down Guy Cosmo on Trent Hinman, who's the next car ahead. That Volt Racing Cayman, the Park Place car, has not been on the pace again this weekend. That's a couple of 3 race weekends where normally you'd expect to be calling Trent's name.
Well, the car's running fairly quickly. The bad news is Alan Brynjolfsson lost a couple of laps before Trent took over, so he's running some pretty good lap times now, Trent, but just not in a position to really make any ground on the leaders.
Well, Jeff Mosing, I'm quite hot. I would imagine you are the same. How nervous are you watching Foss going around in third, fighting for second?
Well, I mean, it's a place that we have been familiar with before. It's just been a little bit of a time since we've been here. I was a little nervous that we were going to go a lap down like 80% of the field, but we got a little lucky with the debris on the track. I think helped us to get tied up with the leaders and be able to go for a hunt.
Do you guys have anything to get around that Audi?
You know, Erik's always got tricks up his sleeves. You know, the Michelins aren't working good in the heat, but of course it's really good to take care of them too and have something for the end.
Well, good luck.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
So let me run this down again for you. Hugh Plum leads by 4 seconds, but has a couple of cars between himself and Jeff Westphal for the 39 Audi car barn team. Those couple of cars are scrapping 1 lap off the lead for 7th and 8th position, being Cory Fergus and Dylan Murray. In fact, he's got 3 cars, because adding to that, Cal Marcelli, who is the first car off the lead lap, sitting right in the wheel tracks of the leader.
And it's a short back to the McLaren. Right behind the McLaren is Dylan Murray in that Wins Mercedes, and then right behind the Wins Mercedes, the second placed car overall, Jeff Westphal, looking for yet another podium finish. They've had 3 this year, including a win. They had a 4th place last time out at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. They're doing exactly what they need to do to take over the championship lead this afternoon.
12 minutes to go. And there goes the, now this is really important for the lead in TCR side by side. And the Murillo racing car, I think, just caused a little fumble from Mark Wilkins there as he let the 56th third place Erik Voss car go. No, it was the 65 car, so not the car that's in contention, but he gets straight back down the inside, lost the lead going into the uphill, gets it back at the West Bend. What was going on there?
Just blew past him, didn't he?
Well, was there a yellow flag or something, and is that restitution? Not sure, but it looks as though Steve Simpson's compromised himself maybe by going offline there, because he's now got trouble in the form of the Honda behind him, which is a lap off the lead.
Yeah.
But he's managed to claim that back. TCR Hyundai leads by half a second across the line. Then Mason Filippi in 3rd position, 98.54.21, your 3 leaders. Hugh Plum leading. Let's keep the votes coming in, please, and nominations for Forge Line Wheels Spirit of the Race at IMSA Radio, hashtag Forge Line SOTR. Is it one of the leaders that has caught your eye? Is it one of the stories of recovery? Kyle Marcelli just off the lead lap. That core racing team have done a good job today. What about the TCR categories? Fabulous run for the JDC Miller team, and now challenging for the lead, as Hugh just had to get out of it for a moment as he went past the number 23 James Vance Audi. It's the purple and black car that was on the uphill, but it's actually played into his hands. He's got a little bit more breathing room now. Oh, just hit the grass as he came over the top of the rise there, and the car gets unsettled. Bit of dirt on the Michelin tyres. Has that given the Mustang an opportunity to close in? Remember, that's not a battle for the lead, that's a battle to get back on the lead lap for the Mustang. And this is fabulous driving by Hugh Plum, Jeremy. I think he let Robin Liddell go at exactly the right moment. He fought for as long as he could, but he's never really had a proper challenge from the Kyle Marcelli Mustang behind him, so he hasn't felt the need to pull over, and I'm okay with that, I really am. But the other thing that's interesting to me is that Cory Fergus and Dylan Murray haven't gained on these cars, so it's not as if the leader is holding up that Mustang.
That's exactly right. But number 39 car has just found his way past one of those two cars he's battling with. That's the number 69 and 35. He's got past the 35 car. They've got a bit of traffic there, which is the Fast MD Audi. Whoa, that holds up quite dramatically there. Dylan Murray, I think he just managed to squeeze his way past. But now Jeff Westphal, he's got a bit of traffic ahead of him now. A bit of a clear road ahead of him now, excuse me. Can he whittle down that gap to the McLaren? Can he find a way past the McLaren? We're inside 10 minutes to go.
And anything could still happen, Jeremy.
A good consistent pace is the race leader, and as a result of that, working his way through the traffic, number 39 car lost a little bit of the ground on that last lap.
Now the Atlanta Speedworks car will be the next that the leader has to find its way by, coming up over the top of the rise. TCR battle still raging on. Mason Filippi not able to close down at the moment on the two leaders, but he's in a solid third position with Todd Lamb in the Speedworks car, the Atlanta Speedworks car, some way back. So the top three there as the leaders go across the line and down the inside this time for the lead lap. Yes, and that was just a little hesitation by Hugh Plum as he came past Brian Henderson in the it's not Brian Henderson, is it? It's Todd Lamb, excuse me, in the Speedworks, the Atlanta Speedworks car. Now, here's an issue for the number 46 and the leader, because if that number 60 car doesn't clear off, the last thing that he wants is to be held up by it. So hopefully that Mustang does clear off and Carl Marcelli's got something left, because Jeff Westphal in second position is now right with Cory in the Motorsport in Action car. Now that's, again, not a battle for position. Well, I think the Mustang's just far enough ahead that it won't bother our leader. How's Robin Liddell doing, I hear you ask? Well, he's pulled about 10 seconds on the leader and sits 43 seconds away as they came across the line last time around. That was after he got past quite a while ago, so he's not exactly cleared off into the distance, because that was with round about half an hour to go.
Yeah, and the gap between the number 82 car and number 71 has remained fairly constant. And now, as you say, not that, well, yeah, okay, 11 seconds behind him now is number 60 car, but he is back on the lead lap, and it's too late to help him now with only 7 minutes remaining. And I think time is running out here for Jeff Westphal, but it's still been a really good run by that team.
The battle actually is going to be for second position, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Because the 39 car has now got Erik Voss, and they've got the same age of Michelin tyres, and Voss has got a great run out of turn 7, maybe a little bit sideways coming out of it. Might have just had to get out the throttle, pulled to the right really early. That might just be to get a bit of an air into the twin turbocharged engine of the AMG. Doesn't manage to get into a position to battle. He's got the Dylan Murray similar car right behind him. That's the one that lost the window to cause the full course yellow. And he's a lap back. But of course Murray wants to get onto the back of the MIA, the Motorsport in Action, the Mia McLaren, because that's his battle. This is a really interesting conundrum for all these guys. But the good news is the leader's in a bit of clear air. And at the moment, that 4-second gap is remaining about constant with 6 minutes to go. Shea Adam, I presume you are somewhere near Ted Giovannis Motorsport, and I can only begin to imagine what the tension is like down there.
Some nervous smiles, John, up on the pit box, and from Owen Trinkler, who, as you well can imagine, can't sit down. He keeps pacing around. But yes, there's a lot of anticipation going on, and a lot of people down here, I feel, would be cheering on Erik Voss right now. The pit box next down to them. But as long as he is keeping Jeff Westphal amused, well, they're not focused on the car ahead of them.
Well, and also the Motorsport in Action McLaren is doing them a solid at the moment, Shea, because the Audi, and in fairness, and again, this is fair driving by Jeff Westphal, he hasn't pushed it, but he's not really been there. Meantime, in TCR, for the moment at least, Mark Wilkins has pulled out a bit of a lead, quite a bit of a lead.
He has, because the number 54 car, Stephen Simpson, he's kind of got bottled up behind Justin Pisketel in number 65 Murillo Racing Mercedes. He's running now a couple of laps off the lead pace, off the lead pack. He's actually the lap behind these guys, but he's certainly handing the advantage here once again to the Hyundai of Mark Wilkins.
Last couple of minutes for your votes, please, for the Forge Line Wales Spirit of the Race Award. Hashtag Forge Line, SOTR to @IMSA Radio. Could be a TCR team, could be a GS team, could be somebody else entirely. The person, team or entity that you feel most accurately represents the spirit of endurance racing in this Michelin Pilot Challenge. Hashtag Forge Line SOTR for your Forge Line Wales Spirit of the Race Award nominees. Hugh Plum by just on 3 seconds now. The gap's coming down. Don't forget, Hugh Plum has been out there for just on an hour about now. An extraordinary run from both he and Owen Trinkler. Owen Trinkler went long. It's another TCR car that's in between him and his chasing pack. That's John Morley, second place in the championship, John, with Gavin Ernstone, and 10th position for that. This is going to be a great points day for Hyundai as it stands at the moment. They'll be taking the championship lead if it stands the same.
And last time I was a 57-second lap for the race leader. All of a sudden,
he's got to be fuel saving now. He's got to be massively fuel saving with 3 minutes to go. Because he's
he can just pace himself at this stage,
yes.
But there's still traffic.
Whilst there's cars between him and Westphal, he's doing exactly the right thing. Exactly. There's no point in him trying to push. Now, here comes Erik Vos having a look down the inside to turn 7, but can't quite make that. Dylan Murray dutifully staying behind them. That's not his battle, but he does pull out to try and get a bit of a draft. Man, that motorsport in action Mclaren is quick down the straight. No wonder that Jeff Westphal hasn't been able to get through. Now this is going to be tight as Erik Vos tries to go down the inside of the the number 5 rather, which is the black Alpha through turns 1 and 2. Big Ben now into the left-hander. He's trying to stay in touch with that grey and green Audi right in front of him. So the battles are split up by lapped cars. Hugh Plum in the 46 Mercedes, just going through the uphill now, leads it by just on 3 seconds. The white, blue and black car next in line is the McLaren. That is actually the car that is in 7th position. The car behind that is the car that's in 2nd position. That's the grey and green Audi. The car behind the grey and green Audi, the orange and black Mercedes, that is the 3rd place car. So the battle in that group is between the middle 2 cars, if you like. And actually, Kyle Marcelli is coming back to those guys as well. So Marcelli, who's in 6th position. No, that can't have been Marcelli, because if it was, where's Robin Liddell? Robin Liddell, by the way, has closed to within a second of Devin Jones for 4th position. So once he did clear off, he's closed down and make that 1.3 seconds now in the battle for 4th place. The 82, that's the Bimmer World, Devin Jones, and he is the championship leader. And at the moment, that championship lead is going to be ripped from him, even if Jeff Westphal stays in 2nd position.
Ooh, there was no white flag.
No white flag, agreed.
He's only about 3 or 4 seconds short.
My goodness, this could be tight then. He's got to do one more lap after this. You're going to have to do a lot of quick arithmetic at the end of this, Jeremy, because the Drivers' Championship is, I think, going to Westphal and Macquarie. I think Cory Fergus might be going into 2nd place with Jesse Lazare. It's so tight, so tight. Mercedes will go back ahead of Audi in the Manufacturers' Championship. 14 seconds on the clock. We promised you 2 hours of action in the Lime Rock 120. It's going to be a wee bit more than that. The 2 hours is up right now, and the white flag comes out. as he goes across the line. And a soft, really soft lap last time around. 57.1 for Hugh Plum. Is there enough in the tank? Not Hugh's tank, the car's tank. And he's been closed down on. Here comes the McLaren. This is going to be super close for the last 1.5 miles. The McLaren is not in the fight, but Jeff Westphal is. How much is left? I think this might be 1.5 miles too far. This could be being snatched from them. White flag for the Hyundai coming through to lap the 4th place car. Todd Lamb ahead of it. What a run it's been for Brian Herter Motorsport and Traffic at West Bend. This could be a sprint to the line. It's downhill from here, but the leader needs to get past the Alpha and does, and that's it. That's enough now for Hugh Plum and Owen Trinkler, so long as he gets to the line. It's not quick, it's not quick, it's side by side for second. Oh, so close as the checkered flag went out. There's no doubt about the leader, but did Westphal hang on for second? He did. That is extraordinary stuff. That is extraordinary stuff.
Brilliant strategy, great driving by Hugh Plum. That was absolutely superb. Kept his cool at the end.
The Hyundai comes down to take the victory for Brian Herter Motorsport. The Shea Adam is with TGM.
What a day, Owen Trinkler. 2 years in a row, you guys get the win here. Your emotions right now?
Unbelievable. I mean, we ride the emotions of this sport up and down. We've been pretty low this year other than the polls. These guys here at Ted Giovannis Motorsports are awesome. I mean, we kept fighting. I mean, when you get low like we did earlier this year and you have moments like you did, you come together as a team and you dig harder and you fight harder. And we're TGM strong. We know we live that motto, and we're by our leader with Ted. I mean, he preaches that every day to us, and Joe Vardy and Brandon and Christina. I mean, John Terry, Doug, all these guys here, Mercedes-Benz AMG GT4. What about my co-driver hanging on there at the end? I was telling them, you know, it's going to get a handful at the end, and I felt that in my stint. But, man, Joe called the race, and unbelievable. I'm so happy. Hello to my boys back home, and just we're going to celebrate tonight.
How close was it on fuel?
We didn't really want that caution, so we were good. I was saving fuel during my run, and I probably could have gone a couple laps more, but you know, we called me in just to play it safe, and hey, all that matters is we crossed the line first.
Exactly, and Owen, not only your first top 10 finish of the year, your first podium, and it's a pretty darn good one. Congrats.
Thanks, Shay. I mean, that's unbelievable, but yeah, we'll take that. It's what kind of year it's been for us, so we're gonna have fun with this tonight.
Well, and you can tell the team, they have won the Forge Line Spirit of the Race Award. So Ted Giovannis, his whole foundation, it's all been all worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I got to say hello to my mother-in-law. She's back home. And I mean, we fight cancer here at Ted's Foundation, and she's going through some breast cancer. I know she's home listening right now. And I mean, she's a big supporter just like my mom is. I mean, I love her to death, and my wife's here, and that's pretty cool. I got a bracelet for her. So, BB, we'll celebrate this tomorrow, too.
Owen's got to run. He's got to go give Hugh a big hug.
A total team effort there. They played the tactics. Great driving by Owen at the beginning and Hugh at the end. They didn't have to drive flat out. They actually were being told not to, and that's what won them the race. 98 car comes through to win in the TCR category by 3.5 seconds at the end. What a run for those guys. But second place for Stephen Simpson and Michael Johnson, third for the second of the Hyundai Velocities, and those, I think, the only cars on the lead lap in TCR. Yes, they were. Only 3 cars on the lead lap in TCR. I did not see that coming, but long green flag running, absolutely fantastic stuff in both of the categories, with 11th, 12th and 13th position for the leading TCR cars.
Yeah, and that decision not to change tyres by Atlanta Speedway, it cost them finishing on the lead lap, but they still finished in the 4th position. So mission accomplished there. They weren't going to. They made sure they didn't do any worse than that. So it was another good day for that team. Their second, 4th place run in a row. They're getting closer and closer to that podium finish. But that was a super well judged victory by Team TGM. I'm not quite sure that Owen, about his veracity of his statement, they didn't need the yellow. I think they did need the yellow, but it was a great victory.
Well, for Michael Lewis, it was a very nerve-wracking race, pretty much pull to win, except there was a lot going on in between. At one point, you walked down to another team to ask them if they would be a little more accommodating to you guys, but hey, a win's a win, and at Lime Rock, that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, thank you to Brian Hurd Autosport, Hyundai, and this Veloster was so fast. And like you said, I was stressing out there for Mark at the end, but I know he had the experience, but I was just trying to talk with some of the teams just to say, hey, you know, if we can let them by, that'd be awesome. But, you know, they're in their own race too. But it's really cool to be able to go down the paddock and just kind of lean on some people and say, hey, is it possible to let us through? So really thankful for those teams that, you know, pulled over and let us have our own race. But Mark Wilkins did an amazing job at the end, and he brought it home.
Congrats to both of you guys.
Thank you. Again, thanks for all the fans for coming out. Brian Hurd wasn't here today, and so this is for him. So hope he's having fun watching this.
I'm sure he is. Certainly is. Jeremy, quick rundown of the points in the classes. First of all, in TCR.
Yeah, no, a handy lead now for Mark Wilkins and Michael Lewis. They came in third position, 6 points behind the points leader Shelby Blackstock and Tom O'Gorman, but they will lead with a 10-point lead over Blackstock and O'Gorman. Jonathan Morley and Gavin Ernstone with a poor for them finish today. They did get to the finish though. I think all but one. I think the only non-finisher in this race actually was the number 37, the previous class points leader in TCR. So bad luck for them. In third place, John Morley and Gavin Ernst, and they'll still be third, 4 points behind Blackstock and O'Gorman.
Now, big changes in GS as well.
Yeah, indeed. From second in the points table coming into this weekend, Tyler McQuarrie and Jeff Westphal with that second place finish, their fourth podium finish of the year out of 6 races. That'll move them now 3 points ahead of James Clay and David Jones, who did a really good job today to come home in 4th position. So just 3 points behind. Another 6 points behind them will be Jesse Lazar and Cory Fergus in 3rd position. Those 3 cars still well clear of the rest.
By my very bad arithmetic, Mercedes will go to the head of the manufacturers running in the title chase in GS ahead of Audi. They'll swap around, and in TCR, Hyundai are going to close the gap on Audi and Honda, but it will, I think Honda just about will hold on. No, actually, I think Audi might just go ahead of them. I'll let you confirm that, Jeremy, in a moment or two. Well, once again, the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge has more than delivered with action beyond the 2-hour mark. A beautifully judged race from Hugh Plum, Owen Trinkler and the rest of the TGM team, who also take the Forgeline Wheel Spirit of the Race Award as voted by you, the viewer and listener. In TCR, the first, second and third cars lapped the whole field, and Hyundai seemed to have that one tied up. A valiant effort from Stephen Simpson at the end to pull it right back, but in the end it was 3.3 seconds. And Jeremy will quickly confirm who leads in the manufacturer's title race in the championship there.
Yeah, it'll be 181 now for Mercedes, 179 for Audi, and BMW will move ahead of McLaren for 3rd and 4th, but it's still super tight there.
Thank you to Shea Adam and to Jeremy Shaw, to our colleagues up in Charlotte for making sure we didn't miss any of the action. Brilliant work by our camera operators here in the C-Ring heat, and by our replay crew to make sure that even if we missed it out on the track, they got it in front of us. A full team effort here from the broadcast crew on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. And we'll do it again later on today, live from Lime Rock Park. Still to come, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. You'll see it and hear it all live on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV.